I'll prove that you a smoking gun. Yes, top notch in this game, y'all. You fellas only have them shot up. On the channel, you hit that bell icon. You're gonna hit the all button. That way you guys get all the updates when I release the video content on the channel. Hey, Lex, you know what time it is, dog? Come on now. Cut it out. And so, salute to everybody watching this stream, man. Appreciate all y'all. And man, dog, y'all can hear me, press 2 in the comments, man. We're gonna get right into this video, man. Press 2 in the comment section if y'all can hear me, man. I got some breaking news that just came down from hotnewhiphop.com. But let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me in the comments? Press 2 if y'all can hear me, man. Y'all can hear me?
Hey.
Man, I've been... Guys, what I just heard from this girl named
Thank you for the like.
Now, when she was younger, she went to this high school called Kent.
So, we back at...
So the teachers and the
I
staff
pulled the bag apart and I fixed it.
Why do you create really strong and trusting bonds there?
Ah!
Tell me why.
Thank you. Hi, Punky. So I pulled the bag apart and fixed everything.
One of our staff members
Y'all are the first persons on. Hi, Punky. Mommy love you. Love you. Mwah, 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 mwah.
You get your cell phone? I don't know. Maybe is he a hacker? She says no. Actually, I know who it was, and not only that, I actually know how he got that information. So she says this guy's name is Dan Cleary. Now she has this laptop where she accesses the school's port. One day it wasn't working, so she takes it in to give it to him to see if he can figure out what was wrong with it. He tells her, "Leave your laptop with me, right? And I'll get it fixed in a couple of hours." Gabrielle hands it over, no questions asked. Because why wouldn't she trust him? He works there. Which, okay, I mean, that's not enough for me either. Like, just because someone works there, like, I even have issues giving my phone, like, I break my screen a lot, guys. When I make videos, I break my screen a lot. I even have issues giving them my phone, because, you know what I'm saying, I got some stuff. Now, she leaves, and she's thinking that he's fixing the computer, but he ain't just fixing it. He copying all those photos up in it, whatever he can find of her. And when this portal thing happened, she wasn't the only one that came in talking about this issue. Multiple dozens of girls also came to get it fixed, and he got all of them. You gotta remember, these girls are like 14, 15, 16, 17. So it's like, what the fuck? So after the email went out, all those girls made a group chat, and they were freaking out. Take what was on there, put it up. Oh my God, because I guess they know what was on there. Now guys, 2 years later, the school sends another email. And they say that Dan Cleary has now been criminally charged. And it's crazy because this man and his lawyer is asking the judge, instead of staying in the prison in jail, they're trying to get rehab. They're trying to get rehab, y'all. And guys, the court is considering it. Which how is it even an option? Maybe there's just something that I don't understand. This man is over here collecting all of these minors' pictures. And just when Gabrielle thought it couldn't get any worse, she got a threatening email from some random teenager. And this email was demanding money. They claimed they had her phone number, her email, and her address. It freaked Gabrielle out first, but she was like, oh, hell no. So she brought it to the group chat. And other girls in the group chat said they also got the email. All of them were like, how did they get our email? Are they connected to Dan Cleary? Did the school fail to protect their information?
Okay.
So Gabrielle calls the school, and she's like, hello, yo, this is serious. We're getting emails, da-da-da-da-da. And you know what the school said? Don't worry about it. It's just spam. It's just spam. Maya's like, just spam? They're reaching out to all the girls that you emailed us about before. And that's what makes this sick, because Gabrielle's thinking, this just can't be no random guy. This has to be someone connected to that school. A man they knew. A man they trusted. A staff member that was supposed to keep them safe. And this story ends here, so let me just say this. Guys, if you hand your device over to some tech guy, whatever you fixing on screen, fixing a virus, whatever, understand that man has access to your information. I get nervous every time. Make sure you remove that. Whatever personal stuff, low-key remove it, then give it to them. Okay, guys.
What do you think about this?
Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight boxing champion in history, was a force of nature. In the ring, his knockout punches were the stuff of nightmares and made him a legend. But his violent tendencies extended way beyond the ring. According to Mike himself, his best punch that he ever threw in his entire life wasn't in the ring in front of a million adoring fans, but it was behind closed doors at his wife, Robin Gibbons. In the 80s, Mike and Robin were America's it couple. She was a model and an actress, fallen headfirst into a whirlwind romance with the boxer. But soon, rumors of Mike Tyson's unstable, explosive, and violent behavior began to surface. But the world refused to see the truth. Desperate to break free from this nightmare, Robin very bravely spoke out publicly against the abuse that she was suffering at the hands of Mike. She made a very public cry for help on TV, but instead of getting it, she was crucified. People were outraged. People were accusing her of humiliating Mike Tyson. They labeled her a gold digger. They said that she was fame hungry. People refused to believe that the same man they adored in the ring was also...
Imagine taking a morning walk along a beautiful cliffside beach. The water is sparkling, the breeze blowing through your hair, birds are chirping, and there's just this peacefulness that washes over you. But this is a familiar one. You know this beach. You live nearby. You almost memorize its cliffs and its rock formations and the jetties as the water crashes over them. And because you're so familiar with the way things look, when something's out of place, it catches your eye. And on the morning of November 28th, 2018, that's exactly what happened. A couple was taking their morning stroll when they spotted something large and out of place in the shallows among the jagged rocks of their local beach. It looked strange, and it made them stop in their tracks. But as they tried to strain their eyes to figure out what it was, the waves would wash over it again and again. So they tried to put it in the back of their minds, and they kept walking. But when they arrived home, they couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious object below their cliffside home. So the husband took out his binoculars, he fixed them on the location of the object, and focused in on those rocks. It didn't take long for him to recognize something else familiar to him. The form of a human body, lifeless, unclothed, and at the mercy of the current and the icy waters of Fakia Beach in Greece. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you've never been here before, I'm Kimberlea. It's nice to finally meet you. And I cannot believe we're now past Halloween, and we're coming up on the holidays. And with all the hustle and bustle of the holidays coming up, and of course, a 5-month-old, I can't believe Mazzy is already 5 months old. But I can tell you that I'm not great at making sure I'm getting all my vitamins and eating well. I'll admit that. And that's exactly why I'm excited to share our sponsor for today, just gummies, to get your daily comprehensive fraction of a price. All my vitamins and minerals, and with my husband, because you can't fit the 20 vitamins and minerals and over 60 snack. They're also vegan, nut pescatarian, but they have a pectin-based new packaging.
Happy holidays, you guys.
You can enjoy gummy bear,
Jesus,
hydrating,
it's a long
and story as
sponsorship
close
time.
to exactly what happened as possible, and tell you everything I can find about the victim and her family. And I think because it's international and I had to translate a lot of things, that could be why there were so many misconceptions and things wrong from what I read in the US. Our laws punish those who break them, but it took a long time to get here. And other countries, unfortunately, are far behind, and that scares me. Why? Well, because we see all these beautiful pictures of people traveling all over the world. We've all seen them on Instagram, those perfectly posed tan bodies on the sands of beautiful foreign beaches, or sipping a latte at a cozy international coffee shop. The spectacular buildings and gorgeous views abroad. Places like the one we're talking about today is highlighted all the time, and that's Greece. I have never been to Greece, and I can't say that I've ever even thought about going there until I saw influencers taking this so popular photos in Santorini, and you know the ones I'm talking about. The photo shoots high above the white buildings with the blue domes to match the vividly blue water below.
Come
Just
on in,
Google
you guys.
influencers in
Settled and
Santorini
let's
and
finish
you
this
will
bag
scroll forever.
finally.
And
I
there
ended
isn't
up
any
taking
denying
this
how
bag down
breathtaking
just
that
so
view
I
really
can
is. Who
fix
wouldn't want to visit?
it
Well,
wasn't
after
an
you hear
error,
this
but
story,
I just needed
maybe you
something just didn't
This
look
isn't
right
meant to
to
be an
me,
anti-travel or
and
anti-Greece
I
specific
could not
video,
let it go.
but it will definitely
So I
open your
ended up
eyes to
taking
a
the
lot of
bag down
things that I
entirely
think the pretty pictures leave
and
out. The
going
ugly
over
side
it to,
of such
you
a
know,
beautiful destination.
fix it
The
how I
human
like.
side, or I should say inhuman side.
I was gonna leave it,
Sure,
but
the landscape
it
is as
just
they say to
snagged
die
at me.
for.
So I just,
But what if you were truly paying with your life by being
I
there?
just finally
This
just do it.
case and many others like it make me realize how little many Americans, including myself, truly understand how different our countries are, especially our laws, or maybe their laws and lack thereof. So to Greece we go, virtually anyway, to the white sandy beaches, the crystal clear waters of the Aegean Sea. It's a place where you can see ancient ruins right alongside modern cities. But beyond the idyllic scenery, there are deep social issues that usually don't make it onto Instagram feeds. In recent years, Greece has been grappling with the impact of widespread misogyny, which is a Greek word, by the way, that translates to hatred for women. And Greece is also dealing with xenophobia, another word of Greek origin, that means stranger fearing, or as we know it, prejudice against people from other places, other countries. These are not new issues, but a few recent cases have brought them into the spotlight again.
Oh, my
Now,
neck.
Greece and other countries around the world are forced to confront uncomfortable truths about women and minorities and how they're treated. So that was my preface, and as lengthy as it may have been, first of all, thank you for sitting through that, but it's never going to be talked about enough, and change has to happen. This case highlights that fact, and I'm going to be talking about the brutal murder of a young Greek university student whose whole life was ahead of her. And sadly, her story didn't end with her final breath, or even the criminal investigation that followed. Instead, her case exposed the darker side of Greek society and the evil minds of her killers, and the truths that those in power would rather hide than confront. They'd rather blame the victim than admit how deeply their problems go. So I want to take you back to that early November morning in 2018, when the married couple was walking along the cliffside beach, and they saw that mysterious object below in the shallow water. You know from the beginning of this video that after getting binoculars, the husband realized he was looking at the body of a human being. It was 7:30 a.m. when he rushed to call the authorities, and due to the fact that they were dealing with the deceased victim in a body of water, the Coast Guard, Thomas Zobus, was assigned to this case. This area of the beach was almost like its own little bay, a cove below the rocky cliff, an indent along the coast of the island of Rhodes, or Rhodes, as we would say here in the United States. So that's how I'm going to pronounce it, Rhodes, surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea. This beach itself isn't a touristy area. It's isolated. And what's more is that the spot where the body was located was really hard to reach. It was below a 30-foot drop, so 10 meters down, in a part of the beach where there was no land access. The Coast Guard knew he'd need professional divers to come
Let's
out
go
and
to
do it
this
quickly, because this
angle
was
so
a dire
y'all can see,
situation.
but I can't really
It was
see
just
y'all.
merely by chance that this body
If you're
had been
here
pulled out of
enjoying the
vast
live,
Mediterranean
please
Sea
give
by
me
the
a
current.
thumbs up
And at any moment,
for the
it could
likes,
come
for the
dislodged
watch,
from the rocks
for the
as it was
algo.
being cradled by
I
three of
love
them, and it
CC.
could disappear forever. Look on this map
For
and
the
how
likes,
vast
for the
this
watch, for
body
the
of water
algo.
is. Anything
Please.
that made it beyond that bay would float away and make its way to the North Atlantic and never be seen again. So they had to act fast. The waves were strong, and with every crash, the chance of that body slipping under and being pulled away from shore was greater and greater. I'm blurring this photo, but I am going to show you things in this video because it is so important for you to understand how horrendous the story is. I'm blurring this out, but you can make out the light skin on the silhouette of this body. And there were 3 boulders.
I love
stopping
listening
it
to
from
crime
floating away.
stories
Coast Guard
while I
official
work.
Thomas Zobus could see from
And
his vantage point
I love
that it
listening
appeared to be the
to
naked body of a woman.
CC Lesson
Here's a
Tree, one
blurred
of my
video clip of
favorite
the waves and
YouTube
how rough they were crashing
creators.
around those boulders in the body. Soon, professional divers, Vasilis Mantikos and Kostas Balafas, came to the location immediately. They were shocked. but the mere fact that the body was still there. Hostess said in a quote in a video later that I have translated, since all my research is he said, quote, on 2 incidents, we had arrived early and the conditions were such that we were able to find her benches. If the weather took her out of the embrace of the bay, we would have never found her. The southern wind kept her in the harbor, end quote. In cases like this, the divers will always take rope and a floating stretcher with them. And when they get to a body, they wrap the rope under both of the arms and across the chest securely, and then pull the body onto the stretcher to get them to shore. So that was their initial plan. But they were in a rush, so they couldn't take the stretcher. Their first priority was making sure the body didn't disappear, so they only brought the rope, which they called a makeshift solution. The water was murky and it was rough, and they had to swim quite a distance, around 400 feet to the rocks. Costas made it to the body first, and Vasilis threw him the rope, which he ended up, unfortunately, having to tie around the victim's legs near her ankles in a hurry, just to make sure they weren't going to lose her. And it was a her. It was clear as they got close. She was unclothed except for a bra. She was face down in the water. Her skin was very pale, almost blue, from how cold it was. And her long dark hair contrasted against the white wave crests. When Costas got closer, he realized the woman was tall, almost 6 feet tall, and he and Vasilis were worried about how they were going to get her to shore. But first, Costas turned the woman over, and when the men who had seen their fair share of deceased individuals saw this woman's face, they were in shock. They both said they were speechless. It actually physically took their breath away. She was so badly beaten, she was unrecognizable. They quickly realized that this was not an accidental fall on a cruise ship or even the cliffs above. She had been murdered. They couldn't spend too much time making any other observations in that moment because they had to get her to shore, where officers could assist them in transporting her to board or an autopsy or identification, since there were no personal effects with the victim in the water. Now, this next part might sound insensitive.
It's just my shoulder
The
gets
equipment available
the
isn't
work.
as advanced as you might have expected in this situation. There were no helicopters, no stretcher, no jet skis, and a basket to move her to the sandy beach. Just 2 men and a rope. And as bad as it might sound, they dragged her through the water by that rope tied to her ankles as they swam to shore. Now, I did watch a video of this, and it made my stomach queasy just knowing that she was being dragged like that through the water, even up to the beach by her legs. But they recovered her body, and that's the most important thing. And of course, I didn't show you the entire video, but I took screenshots. Blurred, of course, so you can understand this part because it was heavily misreported elsewhere that the victim was found with her ankles tied together, and that is incorrect. I actually know that's incorrect, not just from this video interview with the divers that I found on YouTube and translated, but there are Greek articles that makes it very clear, as well as a press conference by the Coast Guard himself. But I also have an unblurred photograph of the victim floating in the water before she was recovered, and her legs are not tied together. But to make my point, here's a blurred photo for reference, because this comes up again when the Coast Guard and the officials take photos of her on shore. Remember that she's already tied by her ankles when she's pulled onto the beach. This is where I think the misconception started. Someone saw the photos I'm about to show you next, and they concluded that her legs had been tied by whoever killed her. But as soon as the victim arrived on that sandy beach, officials placed her on a stretcher, at which point they saw a distinguishing feature on the back of her right calf, a tattoo of a rose. And since they wanted to identify her as soon as possible, they took a picture of it. And that's all they had to go on. Since her face was so badly beaten, there would have been no way for a loved one or even a friend to tell who she was. After documenting the tattoo, she was covered in a blue tarp and transported up a tall set of stone stairs to a dirt road above the cliff. The Coast Guard Special Operations Team was leading this case, and Officer Zobus was determined to find out what happened to this young girl and who was responsible. So he began contacting local tattoo shops, hoping that one of the artists would recognize their own work, and sure enough, one of them did. And he had a record of the transaction, which wasn't too long ago, just a few months. He gave the officer the customer's information. Her name was Eleni Tupaludi, and it didn't take them long to find out she was a 21-year-old fourth-year student at the University of Inchan. It was located on the same island of Rhodes, part of the Japanese Islands. They made contact with the school on November 30th, and the school informs Officer Zobas that Elena's parents called in that same day inquiring about their daughter. She hadn't been in class the last few days, and now we know why. Eleni and her family were not locals of Rhodes. They were from a much smaller town in Greece called Vivimotiko, a long 14-hour drive to Rome. The officers got in touch with the local police department in her small town and explained that he was looking for the family of Eleni Toboludi. That last name was very familiar with the Vivimotiko police.
Alright, the
because Eleni's
initials
father,
done.
Giannis,
Now I just have
he
to
was actually the deputy mayor in town, and
change
him and his wife Kula
threads.
had actually reported Eleni missing on the same morning. They had been concerned that they hadn't heard from her in a number of days. The local police reached out to Giannis and Kula that night and asked them a question that confirmed their worst fears. They asked, "Does your daughter have a tattoo on her leg? A black rose?" And they knew that she did. Giannis raced to the police station and they showed him a picture, probably the same one or similar to the one I showed you, of the back of Eleni's legs as she laid on that stretcher with a rope around her ankles. He knew it was his daughter and that she was no longer alive. This dark moment would become even darker when the truth was completely uncovered. Giannis and his brother take the very next flight that they could find, and they arrive in Rhodes on December 1st to make an in-person
Hope y'all
identification.
having a
It was
great
their
day
beloved
so
daughter,
far.
Eleni.
Please
And of
hit the
course, as you
like
can imagine,
button
her
so
loved
we
ones
can
and
get more
world came
people in
crashing
here.
down.
Thank
It was one of their
you.
biggest fears since she left for college from such a small town to a touristy island like Rhodes. But how could this nightmare be real? Eleni Toboludi was born on the 15th of January in 1997 in the town called Vivimotiko in Greece. Now I'm doing my very best with the Greek pronunciations here, so please forgive me if they're not perfect. Eleni is actually a derivative of the name Helen, named after her grandmother and great-grandmother, and she was the first child to her parents who I've already introduced you to, Giannis and Kula, and she was her mother's world. And I'm not just saying that to be cliche, because it's true. We hear phrases like that all the time to describe the love that a mother has for their child. But I can tell you, I did a lot of research, and this bond was very deep. Kula longed for a child for so many years, and she didn't get pregnant until she was in her 30s, 34 to be exact. Her and her husband were, of course, very happy together, but they couldn't wait to have children. Finally, she gave birth to Eleni, and from the moment she found out she was pregnant, she would sing lullabies right to her stomach with Eleni inside. She would play classical music and read her ancient Greek literature, which Kula had been obsessed with since she was a teenager. She had been a student of classic Greek literature herself and hoped to pass that love on to Eleni. Kula was a kindergarten teacher and Giannis was also a teacher, so they of course loved to learn, and they wanted to enrich their child's life with the arts and the love of family. From the moment that Eleni came home from the hospital and was in the arms of her mother's sister, her Aunt Lidsa, who she would often confuse for her mother when she was a baby, to her very first bath, her whole family took part in welcoming her to their family. Kula would dress baby Eleni in the cutest little outfits, along with headbands and socks and bows on them. She looked like a real-life baby doll, and those outfits continued through her toddler and preschool stages. And for special occasions, Kula would put Eleni in dresses with matching coats and even tights and a necklace. On her second birthday, the family dressed up and lit
Y'all
2
can
candles on a
see?
cake for Eleni, her proud parents smiling behind her as all 3 of them held hands. A picture of Kula, Eleni, and her grandmother shows baby Eleni putting yellow flowers on top of her head, and it looks like a flower crown. This picture of Kula and Eleni in her preschool class is adorable, and it's evidence of how happy and proud
Trying to
Kula
make
was
sure
to
y'all
be a
can
mother,
see.
and what a blessing Eleni was. She was into the arts from a young age, playing an angel in her kindergarten play, and as she grew, so did her bond with her family. Eleni was a happy, loving child who was always smiling. Kula said they were the happiest people in the world. Their little family of 3. They had everything they could have ever wanted, except
Let me
maybe
get my
another
other
child.
light.
And soon they'd get one. Little Eleni was so excited when her mom became pregnant with her little brother Petros. Eleni was 9 years old when he was born, and she lovingly kissed her mama's belly to show the love she already had for him when her mom was pregnant. On Petros' second birthday, the family of 4 now posed for a picture with his cake this time, and Eleni smiling at the camera, despite her left arm being in a cast, and I'm sure it was from playing a little too hard. She was an active little girl, very free-spirited and full of life. There was zero crime, zero, in their small town. So she was free to run and play outside with little pictures. But as her parents hoped, as Eleni was growing up, education was of course a big part of her life. She loved to learn, always trying to improve her English, German, and Arabic. Yes, 3 languages. Eleni's father traveled to Jordan to teach Arabic and had taken many foreign language courses and inspired Eleni to do the same from a young age. But as teachers, Eleni's parents didn't just buy her books in hopes that she would be inspired to learn. Instead, they took her to see the arts in person. They took her to trips to Athens a number of times, too many to count, and to the Athens Polytechnic to leave flowers celebrating the people who resisted and fought for democracy, and to the Acropolis, a number of different plays and theaters, and a bunch of museums, including one in Parthenon. Even visited the Stavros Niagros Foundation, and they did the same with their son Petros. And by the time he was in high school, he had gone at least 3 different times. Eleni also had strong values, which her parents instilled in her. They taught her to trust people, to love others, not to walk and not to be a bully, and to see the glass of life half full instead of half empty, to respect those around her, especially those who had less. Her mother said she would take a bite of food out of her own mouth and give it to someone else if they didn't have any. Eleni also learned that not everyone would think and act like she did, and it was okay to be different, and to respect other people's thoughts, and to try to be friends with those who may not be aligned exactly with the way that she believed. And I think all of those are very amazing qualities to have. But on the other hand, Eleni was also aware that the world can be an ugly place, and not everyone has the best intentions. Eleni's goal was to bridge the gap, to be the peacemaker, and eventually this led to her dream of becoming a diplomat, to officially represent her country's interests in other nations, and work to build strong relationships, negotiate, and promote understanding between different governments overseas. She even traveled to Jordan with her father and worked there free of charge to teach Arabic. She had really big goals, but I'm sure you can imagine that meant she would have to leave the comfort and safety of her small town. Eleni had never been away from her family before. Being close knit.
Whenever Korean boys ask you if you live alone,
Run.
Meredith said she just wanted to cut to the chase. She didn't want to drag this out. She just wanted to get this out there, get it over with, rip off the Band-Aid. So what she did was she brought a recent 4th pregnancy test with her. She had taken it like the night before, pulls it out of her bag and just shows him. And at first he's looking down like, what is this? And then you can see the realization. He's like, and he realizes, oh God, you're pregnant.
Oh God.
Tell me you don't feel like doing your hair without telling me you don't feel like doing your hair. What's up, idols? It's Cece Lessons, and welcome back to my channel. On my channel, we covered lots of story times, maybe Korea's foreigner story times, but today we have a first. We have never talked about what happens when you get pregnant in Korea. You can't tell, I didn't do my hair. I was not planning to do a video today, but I got this juicy email, and I can't keep the tea to myself. I'm going to tell you guys about it. Spill it together. First of all, I want to thank my channel members. You see their names on the side. As always, please watch this video until the very end. I know my voice is annoying. I hate hearing myself too, but it helps me out a lot. Viewer duration is key. The video I uploaded 2 days ago, viewer duration was low, which means it's not being recommended. It wasn't binge my videos. I put together a ton of playlists, the story time, the vlog, the rants, all that stuff is put together for your viewing convenience. Also, drop the engagement. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. You know that other episode of Game of Thrones when everybody ganged up on Jon and they said for the watch? Leave a comment that says for the algorithm or for the engagement. Okay, so for today's story, we're gonna go with Meredith. Meredith, right? She wants to be anonymous for the story because, again, it's a lot of personal details and just her family's watching. Meredith's an English teacher because I can't emphasize enough how often
Hi, Lena.
there's so many. There's just a sheer abundance of teaching positions
I was watching Kimberlea. At first, she tells true crime stories, and now I'm watching CC Less Than 3, and she tells spicy dating Korean stories. And I love those.
And actually working in that field, she decided she wanted to stay, and naturally they didn't want a long-distance relationship, so they broke up. Now, with our girl Merida being, is it Merida? Let me Google that to make sure. Brave? I saw Brave. Brave?
Merida.
So yeah, with Merida being newly single, she decided to get that out there. You know, she came to Korea with her boyfriend. She never got to partake in the dating learning game, so this was her chance to experience something new. So luckily for her, she didn't have to leave the trash.
Know your fucking place. Trash.
And the little dating apps. One of her friends actually hooked her up with a guy that she couldn't rave about enough. She said, he's such a great guy, he's newly single, you guys should get to know each other. So through this friend, they were able to get each other's socials, Instagrams, and all that stuff, and DM, you know, just to see some pictures like, are they my style? Are they my type? By the way, we're gonna call this fella Minho.
Because he's a hoe.
Think of all your trash.
Each other's photos and everything, they liked each other's vibe, and DM each other and be in touch. So it didn't take long for Minho to ask Merida if she wanted to meet up in person, if she liked coffee, if she liked dancing, because he had some things in mind for a first date. So she agreed. She said, oh my god, I love coffee. So they got like, you know, pastries. I just mixed cake and pastry together and said pastries. You got a video. They got pastries. Coffee. And with the vibe being there, they decided to take a stroll together, get to know each other a little bit more. And as they're walking, they're smelling food, and they're still hungry. Like coffee and little snacks was enough. They want to get an actual meal together. So after getting some Korean barbecue together, she said like she sat there and just watched him prepare the meat for her and cut up everything and serve her plate. He was such a sweet guy, such a gentleman. And after that, they decided to go get some drinks and do some dancing, because dancing was a really big hobby of his. Minho likes to dance. So they leave the barbecue spot and they're en route to go to the club, but now it's a little chilly out and chill in the air as the night settles in. And Minho, being the K-drama oppa he is, he decided to give her his jacket. She said they didn't go to like a full-out club, they went to like a lounge. Good for Minho, he passed the drink test. After a few drinks and shots, he didn't suddenly turn into a horny creep.
Introvert? Nah. Extrovert? Nah. Ambivert? No. I'm a perv.
And he was a really good dancer. Meredith said that was such a turn on to see him, like, you know, have rhythm and stuff. He knew what he was doing on the floor. She liked to see it. She would love to see him. I love a man who can dance.
I'm sorry, but no, what the fuck am I doing with my arms? Why do I look like that lady in the black dress at freestyle dancing?
Hi, I'm Renata Bliss, and I'm your freestyle dance stage show.
They both kept audibly saying out loud, you know, this is going well, but we should call it a night because I just got out of a serious relationship. I don't want to rush this. And Meredith said, oh my god, same. I just got out of a long relationship with my ex. He went back to the States. I'm still here by myself, exploring, learning about myself. So I concur. Let's take things slowly and get to know each other at a normal pace. So Meredith got a little bit concerned because after what she thought was such a great date, she hadn't heard from him in a few days. She messaged him the next day and said, I hope you got home safely and I hope you slept well. Good morning. And he didn't respond for a few days. So Meredith thought this was the infamous ghost thing happening to her that she heard oh so much about from her friends. But after a few days, he did explain that he's sorry, he was just really busy with work and it was so scared that he might have been fired, and he said he couldn't face her if he was unemployed. So cute. So after that stress, he said it would make him feel a lot better if he get to see her again. So they didn't make any sort of exciting plan. They decided to just meet up in the park because that's what we do. Honestly, I like to do that a lot too. I love parks. I will never not love going to a park. They were just hanging out, sitting there, walking around, stopping and sitting, enjoying each other's company. And suddenly the weather took a turn. They had to rush to the nearest train station, like underground, because the rain came out of nowhere. It was not planned, but they had hopes that since it came suddenly, it would also go away suddenly. That did not happen. So, with the rain comes cooler temperatures. They're getting colder now, and they decided to get something hot together. Some good old kimchi jjigae. I love kimchi jjigae. Meredith said she can't really explain what happened next. Like, they're out in public eating at a little mom and pop kimchi shop. That rhymes. It's just the first thing they saw, and it was warm and dry inside. So they got their food, and it was kind of empty. It was just them, and they're just kind of getting closer together, and it's raining outside, and it's cold, and they're just having like an intimate conversation.
results of mutual attraction. Building, nothing else to do today. What do y'all think about that? When Meredith was trying to be a good girl, she explained to him that, look, the rain is still going on. It's progressing well into the evening. I don't see the rain stopping. We should call it a night and guard some plays, and maybe we can meet up again when the weather's better. Then Ho, however, gave her this look. All Meredith said was he gave her this look. I think y'all know the look that I'm talking about.
Smoldering.
Feelings at me. When we met up over drinks over the weekend, she showed me this clip and was aggressively tapping her phone like, if a man gave me this look. So when she said that he gave her a look, this is the look that I imagined. So now y'all can enjoy this look as well.
Ooh. That's a spicy look.
So while giving her that look, he said that he wanted to spend some more time with her. Meredith folded like a chair. She said, yup, whatever you wanted. But she also asked him, like, what do you have in mind? Because she didn't want to be the one to suggest something that wasn't being suggested. She wanted to see if that's what he was getting at. So she said, what do you mean? Like, what do you have in mind?
What do you
And then
mean?
he asked her, this is a very important question. You live alone, right?
Oh,
Whenever a
crap.
Korean fuckboy asks you if you live alone,
Run.
Right.
she emphasized, you know, to proceed with caution, but she, you know, girls have needs. You know, there is this narrative that is. We want to do this, and I think it's more often that guys do, but girls.
Y'all can't see
So he
me.
said we could get warm at your place.
What do you mean by that?
This man's what Reese. So again, she's like, look, you know, I like you, but I do appreciate what you said last time we met up about taking things slowly. I just want you to know if you come over, nothing's happening. So he's like, oh yeah, girl, don't worry, I'm not gonna try something you're not ready for. And when he said that, he gave her that same look. Wait, first let me describe it. Oh, you guys haven't done that yet. So she said that I was about 26, and that's Korean age too. So that gets complicated. I'll just say about 26. She said he was 6 feet, handsome, had good teeth with a nice smile. She said he had big eyes and Korean. I don't know what that means, but she noted it. She said he had great hair and that boyfriend with a static fake cardigan with a plain white tee and some straight fitted jeans and some chucks. I was like, Mary,
I need some milk.
sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yes, she agreed, and she let him come over, but she's also kind of panicking a little bit, like, oh my god, I was not expecting company. What state is my apartment in? I cannot clean. I don't know. Oh god, he's gonna think I'm horrible. He says no. But when they get there, he's like, oh, you know,
Oh, I came off track.
it always smells really good in here. Then he asked her if she had alcohol. It was from Pops and Bubby. Because it's cold, they turned the ondas before heating, and they sat on the floor together, drinking and warming up. Just imagine this setting, y'all. It's cold and rainy outside. There's this man you're very attracted to, who's nice and cute, and also seems to be mutually attracted to you as well. And now you guys are alone in your apartment together. So because Minho thinks he's slick, he asked her if she wanted a shoulder rub.
Of course she said yes.
Of course.
She said the tension's like right here, like she was directing him where to squeeze. And she said he was really good with his hands. And after, you know, a few minutes of a shoulder rub, she said he started kissing her neck. She said that led to her moaning, and then he just pounced on her like a puma. Next thing you know, they're kissing, making out, he's on top of her. She said she don't know what happened or when it happened or how, but it happened. But he didn't stop himself, pulled away and apologized. So then Meredith's sitting there like, oh, why'd you stop? She said it was okay, and that he
She
should
is
not
funny.
stop. So he put his shirt on. She helped him. And he was like, they go into too much detail. Yeah, they spent the night together. What I found funny was after it was over, he laughed and apologized and said he was so not planning or expecting that to happen. She said, Bill, I did not expect to let you hit. So what was cute is the next morning, he decided to make her pancakes. And she said, you know, they weren't the best pancakes. They were hella thin. She ain't had no syrup. But it was like a cute, sweet gesture. After this encounter, they continued to be in communication. They talked and texted a lot.
Oh, my
They hadn't
neck.
seen each other. Like, there was just no time for them to meet up in person again. She said, honestly, after he got to Punani, she wasn't really expecting to even hear back from him. She thought he was mad. She thought he was going to dash. As the weeks went by, she realized why she was late. She didn't make much of it. At first, she's like, I am stressed with work. It's a new situation in my life. Life changes. I'll be fine. But then there also started to be some morning nausea she was working on. And she thought, oh man, I need to start eating a more proper breakfast. She thought it could be like a seasonal change as they're going fall into winter. Like, she didn't really know what, but she did not expect it to be what it was. So then she missed 2 cycles. Now she's starting to get concerned. She decided
2 cycles, ma'am. Missing 1 is your concern. 2?
So she took 2 more, and both of those came back positive as well. So that is 3 positive pregnancy tests. She's
Damn.
freaking out, especially considering the fact that they did not even mention something
What,
she
miss?
strongly advises you guys to actually do. Again, this was totally an unplanned hookup. She even said, like, I'm a good girl, we're not hooking up tonight. I like you. She was powerless to help. Again, so it wasn't planned or expected. Mary broke down at this point, as you can imagine. She's alone, young, and pregnant. Since her breakup, she had this vision of her just traveling, living her life, enjoying just being by herself in Korea. And now she has a baby boy. And honestly, she has no idea how Minho's going to react to this. He seems like a nice enough guy. How does anyone react to finding out they're about to be married? So she didn't know what to expect. She was absolutely terrified to tell him. And with abortion being legal in Korea, she thought maybe she should just go and do that. She wondered if she should tell him and then do it and not tell him. So she said about a month went by after she got the pregnancy test, and she decided.
Okay, finally got to the full
What's going
circle.
on? She wanted them to meet up in person so she could tell him in person. Now again, they had not seen each other since that night that they slept together. He agreed to meet her.
Okay, come on, let's go over here. Come with me. Let's go over here.
Because she wanted it to be public, but also not like an intimate setting where people on the next table can listen and be nosy. And in case he reacted badly, she didn't want it to be
Fix
seen.
the light.
So Minho is so excited to see her. He's like, oh my god, Meredith, how have you been? I'm so sorry. I've been so busy lately. I can't wait to catch up. And while he's going on in a good mood, he notices something's wrong with her. She doesn't look as excited to see him as he is to see her. So he asks her, wait, what's wrong? Meredith said she just wanted to cut to the chase. She didn't want to drag this out. She just wanted to get this out there, get it over with, rip off the Band-Aid. So what she did was she brought a recent 4th pregnancy test with her. She had taken it like the night before, pulls it out of her bag and just shows him. And at first he's looking down like, what is this? And then you can see the realization. He's like, and he realizes, oh God, you're pregnant. She said, seeing the look of realization on his face made it more real. And then she started to cry, and he hugged her. He's like, oh, please don't do this. Oh, it's okay. And started to hug her. A good response so far.
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
She said, honestly, it was not what she was expecting. She thought he'd make an excuse like, oh, I am sterile. I can't get pregnant.
Don't touch me, I'm sterile.
Or, oh, who did you sleep with after me? It can't be mine. Like, she was kind of expecting the worst. She thought he'd make a billion excuses as to why it couldn't be his. But he immediately recognized the situation in a mature way. Mind you, yes, he's only 26-ish. So he asked her if he went to the doctor to confirm, and she said this is
Y'all are tilted, sorry.
I'm pretty sure I've got the symptoms, but no, I haven't seen a doctor yet. So he said they should go to the doctor together to make sure everything's okay, and he can go and kind of help be like a translator. He said he wanted to make sure everything was okay, but he also wanted to know like what she wanted to do about this. He said, I don't know, I just wasn't expecting this. I'm sorry, I'm too young. She started to cry again, and he hugged her again. And he apologized. But the boo was on her that night, bro. She was not playing this. So real, it just started to sit in. They confirmed how decided to confide in her coworkers. She said she couldn't focus on work, and it was noticeable to her coworkers. And one of the coworkers is one of the same friends that got them together in the first place. So she's explaining the situation, and they're like, "Wait, we didn't even know you guys were still seeing each other, let alone pregnant by him. Oh my god!" And then after she explained the situation, they were like, "Okay, I can see why you're stressed, but I will talk to him because that does not sound like Minho. He would never just abandon his responsibilities like this." So later that night, Minho called Meredith, and he apologized. He said he was just really busy at work. He would never abandon her. He knows she's alone in another country. It's not like that. He said he has to be more mindful of the situation. It's not like they're just casually hooking up or anything. He needs to be more attentive because she's carrying their baby. He asked if he could see her that weekend and said, "Don't misunderstand the situation. I'm not abandoning you." So fast forward again to the weekend, and they're meeting up again for the first time in a while. So Minho was honest. He said, "Although I don't think I'm ready to be a father, and I think the best option would be to terminate, I'll leave it up to you because I've talked to my family and they're excited but also worried because you're a foreigner." And he says, "I think you should meet my family." His family comprises of his parents and his grandmother. They're all still living in the same home together. Now this was a bit of a shock for Meredith because she hadn't told her family or parents at all because that would just make the situation even more real than it was. She also knows that when her family finds out, they most likely want her to drop everything and move back home so she can be closer to her immediate family and they can help her get through raising a child. So Minho said if they're gonna raise a child, they should begin a formal relationship because at this point there were still no titles or anything. They were just a hookup that turned into a pregnancy. But now he said you should at least meet my girlfriend. Like we should at least start a formal dating relationship if we're gonna go through with this together. She agreed, and he also said, "I want you to meet my family tomorrow for dinner." And she thought that was a bit soon. Apparently he had already talked about it with his family and invited Meredith about confirming with Meredith that she'd be okay with this, but she said, "Okay, yeah, I just have to have dinner later, right?" So as you can imagine, this dinner is quite awkward, but it went well. His family mostly prioritized the baby. They said, "Give me your situation, you guys need to work this out, but we want what's best for this kid." They even went so far as to encourage Minho to propose because they said if you guys are married, that'll make the baby's situation more stable, and we want you guys to stay in Korea. We don't want you to take the baby back to America. With that, the discussion of marriage, Meredith felt overwhelmed. And she's like, "Okay, I have to tell my family about this." When she told her family, they were excited. They were like, "Oh my god, congratulations, we can't wait to meet your boyfriend." They asked when she was coming home, when she and her man and the baby were moving back to the States because they just assumed that's what the next step was going to be. So after both families were made aware of this, first it was the dinner, and that went well. She called her family, that went well. Now it's just her and Minho talking about this. And Minho decided to ask her how she honestly felt about him. Not, the situation of raising a kid, but like how she felt about him. She said she was pleasantly surprised at how he was stepping up.
Let's get this turned inside out.
Really good guy. She could tell he was trying to be supportive, that he really cared. He didn't want to just abandon his responsibilities like a lot of guys do these days. And she said if this had to happen with anybody, she was happy it was happening with him. And he said something along the same lines. He said that she was way better than his ex. Said she's a great girl, she's beautiful, she's interesting, and she's really sweet. So as they're sitting there talking about what do you like about me and what do you think of me as a person, and they realize they do have this mutual interest and connection to each other, they had sex again. I mean, you might as well. It's not like she can get pregnant or pregnant again or extra pregnant. One more time.
One more time.
One more time. So as the months continue to roll by, she's showing more, which means she can't really do as much. So she actually has to quit her job as an English teacher. And to help make up for that financial deficit, her family has been sending her money home, so not everything is on Minho. She said as the time goes on, she feels like he's stepping up more and he's prepared to be a dad, but also there are times when he's really absent and he makes himself a bit more distant. One of the sweet things that happened before she was too far along, they finally decided to take a trip to the States so that Sam could meet the boyfriends and they could see the situation. One thing that was really sweet, the reason he said he was waiting to propose is because he wanted to get her family's blessing. He wanted to make sure they were absolutely okay with this. So while they were there, he asked her dad if it would be okay to propose to his daughter. And he said, absolutely, like, I expect you to take care of my girl. So with their blessing, they all went out to dinner in the States, and he proposed in front of her family at dinner, and she said yes, and he this great cute moment. So where things are now, as we get in this email, she's still pregnant. She said everything's going really well. Again, she said there are moments where he's more distant, he's a bit cold, like he doesn't
I
want
put
this,
this
but
little
he
ribbon.
always comes back, and she can tell that he's trying. It's an adjustment.
Hi,
And she said it's definitely true what they say that women tend to be
Elfrida.
more motivated guys,
Elfrida.
because as soon as
Hi,
they got
I
engaged, she
am
was on board
currently
and recognized
making
she was about
3 bags. I'm on the first one because I had to pull it down a couple
There are
times.
days where he's there and he's like,
But
you need anything, I'm going to the store. You feeling sick? Even like trying to think of baby names already and picking out cute baby clothes and stuff and thinking about what nationality we use for the kid because he says like the Korean passport is such a strong passport. It's like the third strongest in the world. But he also recognizes that having an American citizenship might lend, she'll be mixed heritage. That might be a little bit more normal with her having American citizenship. But apparently she said they have until 18, until the kid turns 18 to decide which nationality they want the kid to have because they have one American parent and one Korean parent. But yeah, guys, that is the story for now. She says she'll let us know how things goes when she gives birth. But she wanted to leave y'all with this little nugget to always use protection. She said she was watching the last few videos where we're talking about, oh, I don't need a condom, I can just pull out. Like, why do you think I need a condom? This is exactly why you do need a condom. It's about to have a pull-out baby. So yeah, she said things for her worked out, but oftentimes that's not the situation where a hookup or one-night stand or something, or even a relationship leads to pregnancy and then it ends to
okay,
a relationship.
we're done
The
finally.
child is a lot, not everybody can handle it. She's
Finally,
been lucky
we
with
are
her
done.
grade. His family's been really accepting, but she was not expecting because
I
to
love
her,
it.
she's like,
It
I'm just
turned
this
out
weird, I
great.
suck at it.
I'm happy
But
that
they
I
were really
went with
welcoming
my
her. Thank you, Hannah, for
intuition
sending the story. I
and
cannot
fix
believe. I
here.
always wondered like what would happen
Like
if before I got
this
into
was
Korea.
actually
Benefits and all
underneath
that
the
stuff. And I
zipper
know a lot of that
yesterday.
is changing a lot
So I'm like,
rapidly
nah,
these
I
days
want it
because
to
there's
be a
birthday
little
prices going
ways
on
from
where
it. So
the kid's gonna have dual
this is a
citizenship.
Christmas
You're
gift from
Korean and
my
you're
mom.
American. She doesn't know where she wants to give birth yet. Her family kind of feels like
This is
she
her
should go to the
Christmas
States to
gift.
give birth since
And
she was
then
probably going to be raised in Korea.
I'm
They
gonna
want
start the
something,
one for
they
my
want to be there,
my
like
customer
they
that
can't all
always
afford to
support
fly
my
out to Korea to
business.
see this happen. So
She was my first customer ever. She shopped with me and she's been shopping with me since March that I started my business. So I'm excited. She's waiting actually to shop with me again. So she's actually waiting to shop with me. But I'm gonna surprise her with the bag. What do you guys think?
I already don't have anything here, but he would do everything he could to try
What
like
do you
put his
guys
hand here or
think?
accidentally poke this. He kept like banging on the bathroom stalls, and then we saw his head peek under the bathroom stall, and it was just a reflex. I won't say I threw my bag, I tossed my bag over him.
I'm gonna try curve it. See if I can curve it a little better than this.
So last week I did a video in which I sat down and told you guys about the safety of South Korea. You guys wanted to be safe there. Hopefully I
And
answered
mold it a
questions.
little bit.
But I also mentioned, creeps are everywhere, and I have many creepy story times or creepy encounters to talk about. And I mentioned it. You guys wanted to know or hear about that, and let me know in the comments. You guys
Alright.
were responsible to let me know. So here we are. So this video is basically going to be
So,
about not
this
just
is
the
it.
creeps in the club, although a lot of them are, but creepy encounters
This
with
one of the
kids,
biggest
my sister
bags
doing
that
weird
I've
stuff,
ever
videos
made.
doing stuff, weird sketchy situations that
So,
have
and I
happened.
love it. I
And
love
so
that
if you
it's
guys are
such a
interested
good
in any of
size
that,
actually.
please keep watching to the end, and we can talk about it in the comments. You can let me know if you guys want to part two.
Okay, so
So
we're
first,
done
I
with
wanted
this
to talk
one.
with you guys about
I just don't have
this was
anywhere
actually
to
in
put it.
October of last year, 2019, October. And my friend Erin, she came to Korea to visit because she was only there for like a week.
And the next one to do is right here.
Not crowded it was. We're used to only being able to freely roam around Korea on weekends when everybody's out on weekends. So like there's no students, there's no people, everybody's at work, it's just me and her and like tourists. So we were going to Itaewon and we took a wrong turn somewhere. And we kind of noticed that there was this guy in like this long tan coat, and I'm hoping I still have a Snapchat of that somewhere in my archives or whatever. So we're being followed. Okay, cool. The dude was on the train with us. Then he got up. When we got up, suddenly after you're sitting there, you see him in the back. That dude been here a minute. We were going the wrong way, and then we saw we had to go down the stairs. So he looked at us go down the stairs, and he got on the stairs, and he's behind us. We might
Yeah, maybe. I'll update y'all.
I literally got my phone and I was just kind of like I was taking a selfie, but like filming behind us. And he just kept being there. Like even when we would walk one way, stop, and suddenly turn around to go up the steps, he did the same track. You know, that was creepy. And he ended up on the train with us too. He got off in Itaewon with us, and we saw him a little more throughout the day, just like walking up and down like Itaewon station area. And that was it. I mean, it was creepy because he followed us. Like we're pretty sure he followed us. And what was funny is my friend Erin, she was like, "Don't look now, but I think we're being followed." Of course, my dumb ass said, "Huh?" And I think that's when he got like suspicious and started to backtrack. I'm not sure what would have happened or what he was doing, but as soon as I looked at him and we knew that he was following us, he stopped. I don't know. I mean, we zigged and we zagged and we stopped on purpose to see if he would follow us, and he was following us. So I think the next one is probably the one that freaked me out the most, and it's probably the most unexplained or unexplainable. So one thing you'll learn in Korea, a lot of the hallway lights, like in your apartment complex, a lot of the hallway lights are motion censored. So they're off unless there's movement, you know, like if you go out, then it suddenly comes on for that floor. And it like lights up your way. So if someone's looking from the outside, then you kind of see where you're going. First of all, my apartment in Jeju was way bigger. It was like 10 floors and at least like 10 to 11 apartments on each floor. But the one I lived at in Taeyang was much smaller. It was only like 5 floors and then maybe like 3 apartments to a floor, or 4. Yeah, I think 4 apartments on each floor. So I lived on the 3rd floor. And whenever I would go down, like to go out of the building, you would see those lights on each of those floors light up. And same when I go up, they would light up. So sometimes I used to crave like a midnight snack or something, or I just had like, I wanted some ice cream or some cookies or something sweet to nibble on. So I would go to like the CU, which is 24 hours. It was close. Like I could literally see the CU from my kitchen window. If I wanted to just walk down there real quick, it's like a minute walk. So I would, just make the run real quick. Sometimes though, when I would go at like maybe like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m., which is not smart to do anyway, but I have no self-control. Sometimes there would be this old man out there, kind of just standing there. He never said hi, he never like looked at me, he never talked to me, he just kind of stand out there, and I at first just assumed he was like out for a late night walk as well. So sometimes I used to get a little freaked out because when I would come back from the CU and go up the floors, each floor has like a window, and I could see him just kind of stand there looking as each floor lit up, and I'm like, is he trying to find out like what floor I live on? So sometimes I would like run to the floor above me too, and then come back down to my actual floor before the lights go back off to go home and go in. I would peek out my kitchen window and he just is standing there looking at the apartment building. That happened maybe like 4 times. Nothing ever came of it. He was just always out there. So after a while I kind of stopped going late nights to get snacks. I would just get it on the way to work and hope I had a craving later. So that's one thing with the motion censored. It's very energy efficient, but at the same time, it kind of gives away your location. If someone is really that much of a creep, it'd be easy for them to see what floor you live on, because all they have to do is watch which floor lights up from the outside windows. Like, all those like creepy animated Storytime, or those like creepy animated stories on YouTube. I'm constantly watching them because Corey Kitchen does the Spooky Scary Sunday, and I'm always trying to find a good one to submit.
I'm sorry, what statue? I'm sorry, what statue? I'm sorry, what statue?
Look at my headphones.
Anyway, that's like something straight from one of those stories, but like it actually happened. This dude would just stand there and just look at my apartment building. I would kind of just peek out the window like, how long is he gonna just stand out there? And after a while, I just kind of gave up and said, well, I'm safe. I don't think he knows what floor I live on. So, some of the more juicy stuff y'all probably want to know about are creeps clubbing. So here we go. I'm already not a fan of dancing with guys I don't know, just because I feel like in America for the most part, guys after a while, in my experience, after you're dancing and after you're done, it's kind of just that. But in Korea, it's like when they dance with you for a few songs, they assume like you're it for the night, and they kind of follow you. They kind of like stick close to you, or they get close.
Hi,
It only happened to
Kamaya.
me once, but I've
Yes,
seen it
I
happen to my friends a
do.
few
How
times,
are
where they
you?
do
How
this
have
thing
you been?
where
It's
they
been a
they're dancing
while.
with you like behind you or whatever, and then they lift your ear, like they kill your ear with your tongue. Like, I don't know who told them that felt nice, but I felt like I was getting a wet willy. Did not like it. Not a fan at all. And like I said, this happened to my friends more than me, because after a while, I don't dance with guys in the club unless I'm friends with you, or I know you, or I'm dating you or something, because I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression, and that tends to happen. Speaking of clubbing, this is still one of the creepier incidents. I talked about this before in at least one other video, but for those of you who haven't seen or heard that story, and it falls into the parameters of this video, so I'm going to talk about it again. This was circa Halloween 2018. Me and my friends were at home day, and we had a surprise performance by Minnow from Winter. We were at Gabby, that was Jackass Lee's club before he put his mess out there. Now we all know what he is. It was getting late, and like I said, I don't like clubbing when it's getting late. If the sun is coming up, I don't need to be. My friends were still out, turning up, chilling. This had to be maybe like 4:30 in the morning. And I told them, hey, so I'm gonna head out. Like, I'm tired, you know, it's getting late. And they're like, okay, you know, texting me back at the guest house. And it's raining, so I have my long padding coat on. I have my hood up, have my earbuds in. I'm listening to Singularity by B. I'm like chilling. Like, normally in America, for example, though, if I'm walking by myself late at night, I don't have the earbuds in because I need to hear everything that's going on around me. But in Korea, I don't really have to worry about that so much. So I was just chilling, enjoying the walk, fewer people out, the air is crisp because it's raining, and it's late October, so it's cooler out. And suddenly I get this tap on my shoulder, and I'm like, huh? And some guy doesn't introduce himself, doesn't ask me my name, straight up says,
I want to go to your place.
I said, what? He said,
I want to play drinking game with you.
Boy, if you don't get...
And I said, no, no, I don't want to do that. He was a bit persistent. He said, where is your home? And I tried to ignore him. And he said, excuse me, where is your home? And I said, no, not interested, sorry. And then he, you know, walked with a little kind of trying to keep up with me. So I'm just like, this dude's not getting it. But it's weird because I feel like if this was America, I would have been scared. But in Korea, I wasn't scared, I was just annoyed. It just really blew my mind that he thought he could go up to any foreigner, not introduce himself, not ask their name, and just be like, I want to go to your place, all right? And I'd be like, let's go, boy. That's not how it, yeah. So after he finally got the message, he walked away and said, Chao Ja, which means sleep well. And I'm like, I hope you don't. Who says I want to play drinking game and I want to sleep at your home? Where is your home?
Probably
To
drunk.
a stranger. Another one that I talked about, but it actually wasn't a very popular video. So in case you guys haven't heard, there's a cult in Korea called the Heavenly Mother. And the first time I met with them, I thought they were Jehovah's Witnesses because they came knocking at my door. I had just moved to Sewn, and I get a knock at the door. But now this was the day after I moved in, and the first day I was there, my landlord came barging at the door because it was like a gas leak. So he told me to keep my kitchen window open because in Korea, like, you have to turn your gas on and turn it off and everything. So sometimes if people leave it on, then it's dangerous. I hadn't used it yet because I had just unpacked and I don't really cook. So the next day when I heard a knock at the door, I assumed it was my landlord, but it was these two sweet Korean women, and they didn't really speak the best English, but they had this presentation all queued up on a tablet. Now mind you, it's February, so it's cold, and I'm like in my doorway, but I don't want to step out because I don't want them to make this permanent or to think that I'm interested, and I don't want to invite them in because I don't want them in my house. So I was kind of awkwardly cold standing in the doorway while they showed me this presentation on a tablet about the Heavenly Mother, and it was like Armageddon and clips from like 2012 and World War Z. So they asked my name and everything and told me they wanted to meet for lunch the following weekend. I said sure, just to get them to leave, and they came knocking, so I had to get all quiet and act like I wasn't home. So then I see they left a note on the apartment below me, like, Bodum Shi, my Korean name's Bodum, told me, like, oh, we missed you, we really want a chance to see you next time. Now, nobody lived in an apartment below me, so that note just kind of stayed up for like 3 months. This is just a little bit of a warning because when it's happened to me several times being approached in the street just walking around, usually by 1 or 2 women. They'll approach you speaking English, compliment your appearance, and ask you to go with them somewhere. The first time it happened while I was walking on the street, I was actually on my way to go see Avengers Infinity War, so I literally didn't have time anyway, and I wasn't interested. The second time this happened, I was in Hongdae walking, I think I was going to a Daiso for like a towel or something, and they approached me, and this was at night, so I was just like, I'm not following you anywhere. The most recent time was also at night, but it was in Gangnam, and this was in like November last year. And these two women, I was actually kind of lost because my Wi-Fi had died, and free Wi-Fi in Korea kind of comes and goes. If you're near like a McDonald's or a coffee shop or IP time, that's kind of just randomly, or by buses that pass by, so you can piggyback off a few signals. So that's what I was trying to do, to find directions to go home. And these women approached me like they were gonna help me, but then I recognized the spiel. You're so beautiful. Would you like to follow us? We only need a moment of your time. I've been there before. I'm like, no, I thought you were gonna help me, but y'all in that cult. But I'm actually very, very curious. That's another reason why I wanted to mention this in this video, because I've never gone with them. And I remember on Weguk, the website that a lot of foreign teachers used to use to like post lesson plans and materials and stuff, it's a whole thread, beware the Heavenly Mother cult. And I'm curious if any of you guys watching this video has ever gone with them to see what they do or what they convert or what they try to preach. I don't know what happens when you follow them. I've never gone. I'm 0 for 4. I've never said, okay, let's go. So I'm curious, if you guys have gone, please tell me in the comments what actually happens, because I have no idea. Another creepy thing that happened to me in Korea, one thing y'all have to get used to is people will stare at you, especially old people. It's like they've never seen a foreigner before. If you have thick hair, they're staring at you. If you're a white girl and you're really pale, they'll stare at you. If you're like curvy, they'll stare at you. If you're wearing any sort of religious headdress, they'll stare at you. Like, I don't understand. The only thing that will not get you stared at is being Korean. Because even if you're like Vietnamese or Chinese or Filipino or darker, they stare at you. One case in particular though, this is when I was still teaching in Jeju. I'm standing at the bus stop in Seoul, and there's like a bus shelter sort of thing. So I'm just kind of standing there listening to my music, minding my business like I always do. And this old man, you know how when someone's staring at you and you know they're staring at you, but you don't acknowledge that they're staring at you? This is what was happening right now. So I'm just kind of like looking up and looking around, and I can see him staring at me. You know, like there's the bus shelter, so like there's like 4 posts sort of, so I try to like get behind that, so to block his sight of vision. I didn't want him to see me clearly. And then I see him back up so he can look at me some more, and I'm like, what is happening? So then I take a giant step forward, and I see him lean forward, and I'm like he's persistent. He really wants to stare at me. I noticed every time I like moved to obstruct his sight, he would get closer too. So like he was over there, and now he's like here. And unfortunately, we also got on the same bus. So I go to the back anyway, every time, because I'm always on the bus for a very long time. And I want to keep the front seats for older people. Old people don't go to the back of the bus. Like, they don't, it's a bumpy ride, and they very rarely choose to sit back there anyway. So I always go to the very back. So this dude is like in the middle of the bus, but turned around facing me. Like, going out of his way to look at me still. So I'm just like, oh my God. And then sometimes, you know, it's like what do you do when someone stares at you? Because if you stare back at them, then a conversation might start, and I don't want that either. I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to start a conversation. I just kind of sat there and pretended I didn't see him. I would put my head down or put my bag in front of me so he couldn't see me clearly. Finally, it was some random young dude who's like, yeah, like tapped him on the shoulder and said, come on in, like telling him to stop now. And then they talked about something and got the old man to face forward, and he stopped looking at me. I don't know what it was, but it was enough that it was causing a scene, that like he was so turned around to face me that people were like, what is he looking at? And then they follow it back to the only foreigner on the bus. So I do hate to say it, you will be stared, I'm not even gonna say probably, you will be stared at in Korea as a foreigner. So I think the last thing I'll share for this video was actually the creepiest thing a student has ever done. He was only in the 3rd grade. His name was Yusok. I've talked about him a few times on this channel because he like came up to me and like rubbed my skin expecting brown to come off on his fingers.
What?
So yeah, that was the first student I ever met when I was teaching. He was very small for his age. Like 3rd grade is small, but he was built more like a 1st grader. He was really tiny, he was really tan, and really just a small kid. So like he looked a little malnourished. He was bullied a lot because of that. And you know, Korean teachers just don't really pay attention to bullying. They kind of just expect you to look the other way. I'm American, we take bullying very seriously here. So, you know, I tried to be nice to him, and one of the things is he wasn't in my after school program, but like with the after school program, we sometimes got pizza for the kids. We had like snack days and my chew. They loved to freaking my chew. So I asked my mentor teacher if it was possible for him to join because, you know, could help him get a meal or some more food, and he seemed interested in English. So I was like, is it possible to have him sign up? So she had to talk to his guardians, and they were okay with it, and things seemed fine at first. He started to like get really close. Like, I already don't have anything here, but he would do everything he could to try and like put his hand here or accidentally poke this. There's nothing here, my guy, but he was looking for it. I had a Korean, we call them a KTX. They're like a co-teacher. They're usually a Korean college student. She was like 2 or 3 years younger than me. She was very shy and very, very soft-spoken. Like, when she would help me translate, I would be like, I can't even hear you. Like, can you speak up a little bit? She was really shy, but really sweet. You know, she's like, oh, I think it's a good thing that we got him in this class. You know, we can help get him some food, and he seems to like English, so he can learn some more. And he would always go for her butt. Like, he was always trying to poke her butt and run away, or hit her butt with like a folder. He was a pervy little third grader. The last straw was when it was the end of the day, end of a normal after-school class. Me and my KTX, we were in the bathroom, the girls' bathroom, mind you. This little boy who's been pervy. So me and her like, oh, you know, thank God it's cooler today. Just making small talk because we had to go wait at the bus stop. And we hear him. He's like, hello, coming in the girls' bathroom. We're like, she went off on him in Korean. She didn't want there to be any sort of like miscommunication. Like, oh, he didn't understand in English, so she said it in Korean. She told him to leave. He would not leave. He kept like banging on the bathroom stalls, and then we saw his head peek under the bathroom stall, and it was just a reflex. I know he's a child, but I won't say I threw my bag. I tossed my bag over him.
Hey, get the.
Going on. She's like, no, chincha, yo, come on, kojo. Like, she was pissed. I've never heard her voice get that high. He's peeking under the stall and laughing and thinking it's funny. It took everything I had not to kick him in the face. And it's as a child, I know that's messed up. So we literally dragged him to his homeroom teacher, to the mentor teacher, to the vice principal. And the only consequence was he was kicked out of our class, even though he begged to stay. I still had to teach him in third grade curriculum class every day, so that was fun. I still had to see him every day. But yeah, that was, yeah. Like, he cried, he didn't want to be kicked out because he liked pizza, and he said English was fun. But bro, that's sexual harassment, and you're only like 8. So yeah, I think that's all I'll share for this video. But if you guys are interested in a part 2, I can get into more of like the clubby aspects, like MB2. I hate MB2. But there was also this time where while we were clubbing, this guy put my hand on his dick. So I will make that for part 2, because I've already been talking for like 30 minutes. But yeah, so if you guys want a part 2, then let me know with the like interaction. If this video gets to like 1,500 or 2,000 likes or so, then I'll do a part 2, and I'll make that one exclusively about clubbing, because that's probably what you guys are more interested in. Most of the creeps reside in the clubs. Let me know in the comments if any of this has happened to you, especially about the Heavenly Mother thing. If you guys have had any creepy experiences and encounters, I definitely want to hear them. Don't forget to hit the little bell, because I pretty much upload very sporadically. It was only supposed to be like twice a week, but then the pandemic hit, so I'm like, whenever I can. It's been like 3 a week, sometimes 4 a week. And I'm trying to do streams every Friday, so if you guys want to know more about all this and keep up to date with the content, then hit the little bell. YouTube is so extra now. So yeah, thanks for watching if you did. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, y'all. What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. So in my last video on Wednesday, I was trying to be all positive and uplifting. I'm like, 10 reasons you should date Korean men. I woke up Thursday morning with a detailed PDF of 3 reasons why you should. There's a girl from South Africa who just moved to Korea in February, and she already has 3 horrific dating stories. 3 different guys, 3 different awful conclusions. She sent me the story story, she wants to either be Pocahontas or Mulan, but we're gonna go with Mulan because Pocahontas has a lot of syllables. Y'all, she sent receipts. We got screenshots and photos. If you want to help support me to keep making content like this, please watch until the end of the video. Watch as much of this video as you can. Watch for as long as you can tolerate my annoying voice. Engage with the video. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. It helps you girl out so much, and it really helps keep this going. So yeah, like I said, it started with an email. Well, first it started on Instagram. Follow your girl on Instagram. She DM'd me and said, hey girl, I got some tea to spill. Should I email it or send it here? So I'm like, oh yeah, email will probably be better because on Instagram there's like message limits and stuff. So typed up a whole PDF, y'all. I'm gonna save the craziest one for last. I'm gonna ease y'all into this insanity. So Milan is 25 from South Africa. She was a high school teacher and she decided she needed a change. So she applied to Epic and she's been teaching in Korea since February. She lives in the small town of, well, small compared to Seoul. But yeah, you know, she said she got really lucky. Her co-workers, they get along really well. Her students aren't too bad. She said there was a very smooth transition to her new life in a new country with a new work environment. So at this point, you know, she's new, fresh in Korea. She hasn't been dating for 3 years. So she does what we all do. She downloads Tinder. She said, I haven't been in a relationship for 3 years, so when I settled in, I thought maybe I should start dating again with the hopes that the men in South Korea would be a total upgrade from the men in South Africa. Obviously, I was wrong. Most of her interactions and experiences on Tinder were the typical, do you live alone? Do you want friends with benefits? ONS, which is one night stand. Hook up. But she said there were a few gems, you know? There were some guys that were really good and really nice, but just not her type. So the first guy up in the Fuckboy Olympics, he was from Pohang, which if you know anything about Korea's geography, is over near Busan. It's like north of Busan. Busan is in the southeast of the island. I keep saying South Korea is an island because it like basically is. It's North Korea. You can't travel through North Korea, so it's pretty much it's isolated. I consider South Korea an island. I know it's not technically an island, but I keep saying that, my bad. Anywho, he came a very long way from Pohang to Inchan with the claims of, oh, I want to see the cherry blossoms and you know, I really like these foreigner cities and it'd be really nice to just meet you in person. I don't mind having to go far to see you. She just refers to him as Tay, so we're gonna call him Tay. Tay from Pohang. Not the good Tay. She said he was a very easy person to talk to. He never made any like sexual advances. He was not too like forward or suggestive. She felt really relaxed talking to him, which are all green flags that we all look for. But she did say that, you know, going from Pohang to Inchan just to see her made her feel bad because somebody going out of their way the extra mile to go and visit you. You don't want the meeting to go bad or be like a disappointment, so it's a lot of pressure. So as previously stated, she gets along really well with her working staff and her co-teachers. There's one in particular, English named Esther, and she's like, girl, this Tay-do sounds a little sus, like going all the way from Pohang all the way over here just to see cherry blossoms and meet you. Keep me posted. We all know that friend that's like, hey, you know, call me if you need like an escape route. I can call you and pretend there's an emergency, or I can be out front or pretend to be your parent. You know, like we all need that escape, that alibi. So for their date, the plan was to meet on a K-drama set. I didn't really ask too much about that. I never heard of that. It sounds really fun and lit, but you can tour K-drama sets, I'm assuming, and that was gonna be their first date. So the first thing that she wanted to tell me was he was shorter. She said shorter than her. And for reference, she's 161 centimeters. 161 centimeters. Oh damn, y'all, that's only 5'3". Look, we all love our short kings, right? You know, my favorite short king is Liam. Big Bang. Just don't lie about your. Why do you keep lying about their height? Like you're gonna meet.
Craig.
Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to lie about. I don't understand. Anyway, the next thing noteworthy to document is when they went to get the tickets for the K-drama set, she offered to pay to be nice, you know, if like he came all this way. He takes her card from her and then pays for their ticket.
What? I think side-eye. Criminal offensive.
Side eye.
So, you know, she's trying to ignore these red flags and make the most of it. And as they're talking and hanging out, he decides to be like the tour guide, apparently. And she said she's still texting Esther on the cow, like, update her with what's going on. And so Esther's like, girl, I got you. Call me, meet me when you need me. So the plan was she was going to call Mulan and be like, hey, girl, there's an emergency. Operation, one that I've been teaching came down with COVID, and we need you here, like, as soon as possible. She was trying to enjoy the set, you know, she paid for it, not just for herself, but for Tay as well. So she's like, well, that's a good out, you know, I'm gonna utilize that, but I do want to try and make the most of this because I did spend my coins on this. So the plan at the end of this tour is to execute Plan Impossible. She's like, oh no, okay, what do I do? I gotta go to my school. Darn, I gotta cut this day short. I am so sorry. He offers to go with her. He said, oh my god, you know, that's so sudden, I'm sorry, but I can come with you. I'll just wait at a cafe nearby until you're done. So then she has to let Esther know, like, this is starting to backfire. I'm always trying to come with me to wait at a cafe here. So Esther, being the real one that she is, she says, okay, you know, I'll go to the same cafe and I'll meet you. So yeah, while they were going to the cafe, Tay gets a taxi, they get in a taxi. He gets out of the taxi first, leaving her to pay for the taxi outside of the cafe that he insisted on waiting in. So then she's just beyond annoyed, frustrated over this guy. Like, he won't leave. And on top of that, she's paying for everything. So Esther gets to the cafe with Mulan and Tay. And Esther and Mulan leave. And Tay's at the cafe just waiting. So Esther and Mulan are like, oh my god, like, what the fuck? Like, this dude won't leave. So yeah, she asks him, by the way, when are you going to go back to go home? Because it's kind of far from here. And you didn't tell me if you got a hotel or anything. Like, you're planning to spend the night over here. She has reason to believe that he expected to spend the night at her house because he did not book a hotel for that night. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just wait for you here. And decided to just block him. Stop replying, and she blocked him. And that was the end of the story number 1. So the third story is going to run a little bit longer, and it involves a 5-day relationship. I'm going to skip to number 2. Even though this is chronologically the most recent one, it's a little bit shorter. So I can get through that one quicker and then get to the juicy one. So I made a video not that long ago about an email I got from a girl where she told me that this guy, and she was from Spain, and she told me about how this guy, I work for Mercedes and I make all this money, but then asking her for money. And then I got 2 more emails from 2 different people, and I was like, this is like a whole thing. Then that led me to the discovery of the Korean scam. I got another one not long after that video came out. This girl called it the West African Korean scammer. That's gonna be a whole new video. I'm thinking of doing that one next, but this involves like a bit of a scam thing, and that's what I'm gonna get into. This was after the Korean drama set dude, and the second dude, 5-day relationship that's gonna come next. This is after both of those stories. So she was hesitant to get back on Tinder after those first 2 experiences, but she decided to, let's just see what happens again, you know, never give up. So she started talking to this guy named Jin, and she said the reason he was different is because he wasn't overly eager to meet up in person, he wasn't too suggestive or forward, which is always really nice, even though you can see that just because they don't type it don't mean they're not thinking it. She said she got the sense that he was more interested in getting to know her. He was asking her a lot of personal questions, sharing personal information, and even mentioning that like his mom died when he was young, and they had some similar traumas and everything, so she felt like, oh wow, like this is a really nice guy to talk to. And you know, in the era of shows like Catfish, people are more aware of signs of a catfish. You know, you don't really get to speak to them on the phone, you don't get to see what they look like a video call or a Zoom or whatever. They don't really want to meet up in person. There's always a reason why they can't meet up in person. They're really far away at different times. Like there's always something that keeps that personal, physical interaction from happening. And she said she's been catfished before, so she knew some of the patterns. So 2 days before she sent me this email, she said 2 days ago she decided to randomly do like a reverse image of the pictures he's been sending. I'll show y'all the pictures too soon, don't worry. If you see these pictures from some guy who's like, hey girl, you my type,
Run.
so yeah, while she's in her office, she decided to do a Google search for the images that he had been sending her, and it's definitely catfish. It immediately linked to a blog that a Chinese person wrote about like a Korean open scam that they fell for, and she said, yeah, definitely a catfish. The images went straight to a blog about exposing this person as a catfish.
Expose him! Expose him!
The entire story, everything was the same. Like she's reading everything that he told her, and then she's just sitting there like, mother. So one thing that she didn't put in the PDF that I was able to ask her about a bit on Instagram, I was like, well, did he ever try to ask you for anything? But this is still very fresh. She hasn't like confronted him like, oh yeah, I know you're a catfish by the way, which I was like, you are better than me, because I would have replied to him with a link to the blog that's exposing him. She said that according to the blog and everything, he does eventually come to ask for money and, oh, I need help, but I'm planning to take care of you, and hasn't gotten to that yet. So I think she's just trying to have some fun and see like where he takes this. By the way, for those interested on this creep's IG, it is dong._570. So if you want to check it out or report him, expose him. So as promised, these are the photos that she sent me of the catfish. So now for the meat and potatoes of this story, where she even included like a screenshot of their conversation, like the final interaction they had and how cold he was. So yeah, I know I did this out of order, but I wanted to be able to go into detail with the story because the first 2 were relatively short, even though this is chronologically the second one. But yeah, so this was Mulan's first relationship ever in Korea, and it lasted for 5 days. Here's how it happened. At the beginning of May, she guy named JJ. He was attractive. He took boxes. He was interesting. Had hobbies. He seemed like he took care of himself and did well for himself. The first date was on a Sunday night in a cafe, and then they took a 2-hour walk. She said they got along like a house on fire, which is pretty proper because it ends up being destructive in the end, right? The only thing is she said that there was assuming that he was 8
Empty.
years old.
I have to make sure I have some for the next
He
one.
had enough time to work and spend time with her. Keep that in mind, please. Keep that in mind as we get closer to the end of the story. He's bragging about how much time he has to offer her. He's available. Money shigani so. So the next day he asked to go out on another date, and it's a school holiday, so she has the day off. So perfect timing, they can go out again. So he went to a temple. I'm not even trying to pronounce it. I don't know what it is. Whenever I see Korean words romanized in English, I can't pronounce it. I need to see it in Korean to know how it's pronounced. It's SONGGWANGGSA. That's Seonggwangsa. And it's sweet because while they were their first date, she did mention that this was a place that she really wanted to visit, so he remembered. He was listening. He said, I got you, boo. Second date ideas. And the temple wasn't all that close. She was about 45 kilometers, which he picked her up for and took her. So, like, the man drives too. She said it was a very cute and comfortable date, and she started to really believe that he wanted something serious. You know, especially being older. She's 25, he's 8 years older. At that point, you would hope that, you know, you're a little more settled. You're done with being like this playboy, just wanting to sleep around. Like, you want to start to build something.
That is not correct.
So, you know, they're talking about cultural differences that revolve around dating and stuff. So she said, like, with her, you know, there's like the whole 3-date rule versus 5-date rule. You become a couple after like 3 dates. Like, Koreans do it really differently than a lot of people. She said, I'm gonna need like 5 days before I can be confident and comfortable knowing that you're the one. Whereas Korea, it's typically like a 3-date rule. And she said he was fine with that. He was like, cool, like, dude, I get it. You know, take your time, get to know me. And he went away on a business trip to Vietnam. He was still texting her like the whole time, being consistent. He wasn't, you know, just like, I'll deal with that when I get back. He was still doing that to get to know her. Whenever they saw each other, he surprised her with cute little gifts. And it's funny, like, describing all this greatness, you're like, what could possibly go wrong? Trust me, I'm getting there. So with everything heading in the right direction, she decides to delete Tinder. She's like, I don't need this fuckery anymore. Like, I got a good one in my life. He also said that he had never been in a relationship with a foreigner before, and how he was hesitant to ask her to be his girlfriend because he didn't know if their relationship would actually work out with the cultural differences, language differences. Was she gonna stay in Korea forever? Was he gonna have to move? Things like that. But he eventually asked her to be his girlfriend. So it was May 25th when she said, yes, I will be your Yonjin. Keep that in mind. May 25th starts this 5-day relationship. So on that weekend, his family was visiting and they were gonna stay at his house. And he was complaining about having like a little nephew who was like a menace. He was 8 and they were visiting from Seoul. He was like, oh my god, they're gonna drive me crazy. What do? I need somewhere to stay because my nephew's gonna make me insane. I volunteer! I volunteer!
I volunteer as Trevor.
Yes, not at all. So one thing that's important to note is this whole time that they've been going out, he never knew where she lived. Whenever they agreed to meet, it would be at a cafe nearby, which is also very smart. Do not let them know where you live because if things go awry, they can stalk you. We don't want that. In the email, she's like, call me paranoid. I'm like, no, girl, I'll call you smart.
Smart. Very smart. Matter of fact, you're a genius.
So you guys can see where this is going, right? He asks if he can come to her house, and she's like, well, isn't it kind of rude to ditch your family? Like, they came down from Seoul to stay and visit, and you want to be in your family came down from Seoul, and you want to sleep at my house, stay at my house? Like, that's weird. Show them what this is, Cammy. So yeah, at this point, May 25th was weekday. This is the weekend, so it's only been 2 days since they started the date. And she's like, look, you know, we just started this relationship. I'm not trying to have you in my house yet. So then they got into like a little mini fight, disagreement, and he said to her that he thought she was too much. Okay. He even said to her, you're not like usual Koreans. This girl is not Korean, so
He needs some milk.
Korean people tend to be more reserved and close-minded in that sort of thinking anyway. So like, how is this foreigner being not like the usual Korean a shock? So anyway, they disagreed on that. She did not let him come over, and he said like, okay, well, you know, I'll be in touch over the next few days. My family leaves forever. So fast forward to Tuesday, May 30th. Since she said you can't come to my house, they barely talk. Remember, he was away out of the country and still able to keep up communication with her. Now that she's not letting him stay at her house, he can't find his words. reply, and then he finally sent this message.
Dear sir, hope this letter finds you in good health and in a prosperous enough position to put wealth. I'm sorry, I'm kidding.
She said, okay, good. He says, school? She says, yes. And you? He said, me too. And then she said, what about the hospital? And then a few hours after he didn't respond, she said, hello? So then he goes, I feel like we don't get along well with each other, and I have too many things to worry about right now. I don't have time to care about you. I'm sorry, but I think you better stop contacting me. So then she goes, I don't understand because we were supposed to talk about it, but you didn't even care enough to do that. So after 5 days, he broke up with her. But wait, there is more. So she decided to go back on Tinder to see if he reactivated his account, and place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think his Tinder account is inactive or active?
Active.
Yeah, of course he activated that shit again. So then she got her Sherlock moment going on, and she noticed like specific pictures that she'd seen before. I'm gonna just read this out because her words do it better. It just does it justice. I noticed a specific photo that I recall seeing before. I am usually someone that is great with details, especially faces. When I thought about it, I remembered that I matched with him before, and he messaged me asking to be friends with benefits, and I refused. So he knew I wanted a serious relationship. This leads me to believe that he changed his profile and approached me knowing I wanted a serious relationship. He probably thought I would have sex with him if we were in a relationship, regardless of how long or how short it was. I should have actually suspected him on the first date when he mentioned he wanted something serious with me, even before asking what I was looking for. I was trying to be all positive. I'm like, yo, here's some reason you should be open-minded and give him a chance. Go date a Korean man.
Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
So yeah, y'all, that is, you have it. Again, Milan, thank you so much for the details, the receipts, and the evidence, and everything that I needed to tell this story. I hope I did it properly. You know, like she put in so much detail. It's always a little bit of pressure to not mess up intentions or over insert myself into this. You know, like this is how she felt, her words. I don't want to assume how she felt and what she thought. So thank you for sending me all this information. Hope you guys enjoyed the stories. Thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Hello. Okay. I gotta plug this in. My phone's about to die.
Oddly enough, we did meet on Tinder. He was a really good guy. He was just wrapping up his Korean military service before going back to the States to study because he was halfway through school, came back to do his military, and then finished school. And we met up in the summer. It was like June, I think. We kind of decided to hang out knowing that this was only gonna be like a summer thing because once autumn rolls around, he has to go back to school. So let's just have fun for the summer. And like we met up a lot. He hung around my friends. He was in some of my vlogs. He was a really cool dude, a Virgo. I just gotta put that out there. He's a Virgo, perfect gentleman, incredibly sweet. And again, the reason we broke up ended up being a distance thing. He moved away to the States for school, and I was still in Korean teaching. So things got spicy. Early August, we decided to go to Hong Kong together. I was excited because this was my first time going abroad with a boy, like at all. And we weren't like an official couple at that point, but he did keep asking me like, oh, Isis, when are you gonna be my girlfriend? Oh, you should be my girlfriend. But I kept saying like, dude, you're going back to the States. I hate long distance. I am so bad with long distance relationships. My love language is quality time. If I don't get to spend time with you, I don't think about you as much. And I wish I wasn't that way, but I am the way that I am. So it also came to the point where he was like, oh, when you gonna be my girlfriend? And it was just like, ha ha ha, anyway, because he just brought it up so often. I think one thing that is worth noting, and this might be a little TMI if he's watching, he was a virgin at the time. And I remember I was a little worried about that because at that point I had only been with one person, so I was like, I don't know what I'm doing either. I can't believe I'm talking about this. Please give this video a like. I'm very uncomfortable right now. There was one night in particular where, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really thinking about doing that with him because I knew we wouldn't be in an actual relationship together. I knew we wouldn't be like an actual couple, and it's always been like a hard line for me. I don't want to sleep with someone I'm not in a relationship with. Again, like I spent months with him. He was such a sweet guy, so good with communication, and even when we were on the trip, like he was never the type to suggest it or like hint at wanting it. Like, you could tell he was not thinking about that at all, and that is so attractive to me. I like when I'm spending time with a guy and sex is the only thing on their mind. Like, they're enjoying the moments, they're enjoying your company, you know what I mean? So as soon as we got to Hong Kong, he was just itinerary. He's like, we gotta do this, we gotta make sure you're not hungry, I don't want you to be too hot, I don't want you to be bored, we gotta have fun together. Like, he had it all planned out. But I remember it was one night in particular, we wanted to go to the beach in Hong Kong, and I vlogged this, you guys can check it out. We went to Repulse Bay Beach, and I'm not gonna lie, that beach was disgusting.
디스커스팅한 냄새가 나요.
Disgusting shit.
So like dead fish floating in the water, dirty diapers, and we looked at each other and was like, nah. We were looking up other beaches nearby to go to, and we found if we walked maybe 20-30 minute walk, which wasn't bad, it was nice quickly by the beach, and we found a beach called Middle Bay Beach, and it was great. It was quiet. It was like the sunset was like watching an anime. Those sky colors were amazing. It was just us. Like, it was us and some old people laying on the beach. It was really quiet, no kids. It was perfect. But after that, we decided to get some food and walk back to Repulse Bay Beach because that's where all the food and stuff was and the touristy area was. And I remember there was this moment where we were ordering our food and the waitress, she came over and she was looking at me. She's like, "You are so beautiful." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then he looked me dead in my eyes like, "Yeah, you really are." And I'm just like, I got so weak. So I remember after we ate, we walked on the beaches at night. The only lights you can see is like from the condos in the distance, and you can hear the waves crashing. And I remember we were about to get on the shuttle to go back to our Airbnb. He was like, "Yeah, we should get some snacks for like our room so we don't have to go out in the morning or anything like that." And he was like, "Yeah, we get some ramen, we can get some snacks, some chips, some water." And I said, "Oh, we should get some condoms." He was like, "Some He was so not expecting me to say that. But he just looked at me, he's like, "Wait, what? Like, what are you talking about?" I was like, "Yeah, we should, just in case, who knows what's gonna happen." We went back to our Airbnb, he went to the store, got things that were requested, and wow, I'm really telling y'all, this is weird. So after, we were at the beach, we showered separately, because it was one big bed in the Airbnb, and he was even like, "Oh, I can sleep on the couch." Like, he was such a gentleman, like, I can't. I was like, "No, it's fine, like, this bed is huge, you can sleep over here." So then, he offered to give me a back rub, and y'all see how that goes. Massages lead to other things. I think we all know that. He was really good at giving me a back rub, like, on my days. And I can't. This is so weird to talk about. I'm telling y'all right now. It's weird. I can't describe. Like, this is the first night that we did something. I can't fully explain what I felt, but even just having his hands on me just made me feel aroused. Like, is that a word that's gonna get me demonetized on YouTube? Everything was like heightened or sensitive, or I was incredibly like turned on. I don't know how you describe it, but he was like, he would give me a back rub, like he was sitting on my butt and just like working up my back. And when he got to the top, he would like kiss my shoulder or kiss my neck, and
Oh.
rest is history, bro. It was funny though because like you could tell he didn't really know what he was doing, so he was trying a little bit of everything that he probably saw on certain websites. The way he tried to talk, and I would laugh. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I won't say that again. I won't do that again." You hear those R&B songs about going all night. I hadn't experienced that with my first, but with the second, with him, yeah, shit just didn't end. I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm tired." He was only a year younger than me, but still, I was just like, I feel old, like I'm tired. And he was joking like, "Oh, it's military training." Hot tail. She going hot tail. But I do remember the morning we departed Hong Kong. We had breakfast at this really nice place, and this was after we had like done the deed. We were sitting at the table, and he just like across the table just put his hand on mine and just held it and was like, "You really should just be my girlfriend." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Wait, really? Seriously?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh wow, okay, great." Like, that's how we became an actual couple. And then when we left Hong Kong and went back to Korea together, he did come to my apartment for a few days because he almost like, I think the week after Hong Kong, he was going back to the States. So it was like a really bittersweet, passionate moment. Like, we really liked each other knowing he was about to leave. It was sad, but it was also really intense. Very passionate. Like, that was probably the most passionate encounter I've ever had. When he first got back to the States, we talked like every day, but that's when, before he like recalibrated to like US time zone, and he was just more sleepy, and it was me going to work versus him going to sleep. It just didn't work out. And it was a pretty amicable thing. Like, it wasn't like any bitterness or anything like that. Like, I genuinely don't have anything bad to say about him. He was a great guy. If it wasn't long distance, no, knows where it could have ended up, you know? Long story short, if I was with 3 guys, I would definitely have to say he was at the top. That could have been just because he was a Virgo and I'm in my own head. Or it could have been like the emotions behind it for the fact that I knew he was leaving and we knew we'd be a part of each other and it just made it more like passionate, I guess. I don't know, but that was like the best I felt sexually with someone.
Santa's no one to be scared of. He's kind and warm. He loves unconditionally and he makes everyone feel so.
Now, what would you like for Christmas, little boy?
What just happened?
I feel really weird talking about this. This type of stuff makes me uncomfortable. And I've always said I'm not the best person to ask about this thing because I'm hot right now. I'm sweating just talking about it. Yeah, this is something I've never told any of you guys before. And after spilling Teresa's tea and she graciously let us spill more of her tea, I was like, you know what, since you got in this alone, let me spill some of mine too. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
maybe we
let me
can
take a
talk more
break.
about this some other time. Binge my videos on the playlist.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you guys for watching the video.
Thank you.
Share, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.
It could be a good thing and a bad thing because I was almost done with that first bag and I ripped it open and fixed something that I felt was like needed fixing. So let me just take a break, catch myself. 1 second. We literally been on like almost 2 hours. Ugh.
Self-proclaimed. Like I've never heard someone proudly. Yeah, they say I'm a pervert. I'm like, you know what? Say that on the app. Like, hi, I'm a pervert.
Someone will be like, I'm a pervert. So I see your dick. I'm a pervert. You show me your feet? I'm a pervert. Can I show you my dick?
That happened to me like.
Pornhub is there for you.
Before we get into today's video, which is going to be a discussion about dating in Korea as a foreigner versus dating in Korea as a Korean girl. It's mainly for the ladies, I'm sorry, it's all I know. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Okay. Now, for those who don't know, which at this point I don't know how you don't know, because if you've been watching my videos, you heard this name a lot. Skillshare is an online learning community, and I've been using it since December because I've been trying to get better at speaking conversational Korean in preparation for right now, being back in Korea. Now I'm trying to challenge myself more and actually speak Korean to Korean people, but it's not just for the language benefits. There's classes for language, that's true, but there's also classes for creative writing, film, photography, cooking, travel, editing, all sorts of skills that you might want to learn. So if you're like me and you want to increase your skills online at your own pace, because this is all on your own time, whenever you feel like practicing and learning, increasing your skills in these different interests and genres you have, it's getting bigger and bigger. Like I've already seen new classes being added. So for my subscribers who are interested in Skillshare, which you really should be, give it a look. You can get access to a free trial. There's a link in the description box below. And if you do like it, which again, I'm really sure you will, it's less than $10 a month with the annual subscriptions, so it helps save you money in the long run. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description box below, and let's get back to the video.
What should I say?
So, I am here with two chicos, two friends. You guys have seen Maria many, many, many times. Yeah. And this is Gian. I get a lot of questions because, I've complained a lot on my channel about my bad experience with dating here. And a lot of people want to know, like, am I cursed? Is it just me? Which is not, because all my friends will agree. But a lot of people kind of wonder if the dynamic is different between Korean guys, how they talk to foreign girls, versus how they talk to Korean girls. So again, these are just our experiences. Disclaimer, do not try to say, oh, Koreans work like that, because that's never my goal. That's never my intention to try and speak for everyone. This is just one story, one drop in the bucket of life. We're going to talk a little bit about dating here and what it's been like. I think we should start this off, Maria. How long have you been here?
Almost 3 years. Yeah. Dating here is weird. I don't know. Because it ranges. Like, there's some Koreans who are very, experienced with Western culture. Like, they lived abroad or they, studied English for a long time, so they speak English really fluently and they understand, just our mindset, and that's usually fine. And then there's some, the
Alright, y'all. I have to take a break.
Koreans say it, like,
I'm feeling
someone
it.
is Korean, yeah. Which is
Really
like,
tired.
Jay says it all the
But
time.
I'll come back later on.
What, you said it, Jay? Yeah, you don't know.
I will come back
But
later
you
on to
also
try and
said
get
that
some more
Korean,
hours
so it's not
in.
Whoever
But
wants to say racist on everything, it's not. Like, that's like a term. Korean is like someone who's like born in Korea, raised in Korea, like never really left or traveled. So their obviously their mentality about like dating is different. Yeah.
So what about you? Like, are you Korean or
I
do you
am
consider
Korean.
yourself Korean?
I don't think he's Korean.
I think I'm Korean.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, okay, I was not born in Korea. I was born in Khartoum. Yeah, but I left Khartoum when I was like 2. I grew up in Korea. I finished all my studies in Korea, so that makes me Korean.
alright, we're gonna take it to the machine and just stitch it in place.
Studied abroad or
Yeah,
And then
I did like 1 semester in Belgium.
we'll
But it's not
I'll take a break then.
counts.
But
I feel like
I don't want to take the break now, and then I'm still a little behind. So yeah, my feet are so cold.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I'm Korean.
So I would say like
I'm gonna put this
generally
in.
dating is not bad, but most of the time I feel like when Korean guys are dating foreigner girls, they don't take
Just so it doesn't get
So, like,
dusty,
if
I
you
want to
go
put
on
it in the
Tinder,
box. See,
whatever,
this is the one I got done.
one night stands, friends with benefits, like that's all they post. Yeah, like that's all they post, and even from my other friends, like no, don't get me wrong, I have several friends who met in theory, they've been on Tinder, and their relationships are great, but at least my overall experience is very like, oh, I'm just looking for like something casual. They're not looking, they don't consider us as a real partner, or like they'll see the foreigner as like someone to date for like fun, to like get a taste, and then ultimately end up marrying or dating a Korean series. Which like if that's what you want to do. Korean, we have to like virgin Korean. They're Korean. Oh really? All of them. No, 97% of the guys that I've dated here are Korean. I've dated a couple of like Americans here and there, but
it does seem like
mostly
really
Korean.
guys here almost exclusively want a Korean girl.
Yeah, most of our
Okay,
guys
let's
here
cut
don't
this
really
up.
dating their own. Which like I don't like.
Yeah.
I came to Korea and maybe that's like I mean I don't do that.
Yeah, but my question was like, you know people, like friends who actually met us out and then they got married. Were they Koreans or?
Yeah.
Oh,
So my best friend is American. When she was studying abroad here, she met her then boyfriend, and now they're married and moved back into the States.
Oh yeah, I think you talked about it.
Malia James. Everyone knows them. I don't know my husband. They go I'm gonna be there. But yeah, so they're happily married and living in the States, and they're
And
fine.
I know a couple who got on Tinder. They live in Ghana. They met on Tinder. Puerto Rican, he's Korean. They got a baby and they're married. Yeah. So it happens.
It does happen.
It's not very common.
It's becoming more common than it initially was.
I think initially people, most at least Korean people love it, like a hookup app.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is totally different than the States. Because in the States,
I've
it's not a
got
hookup app.
friends there. Like, yeah. Here people like, oh, it's for hookups. What do you expect? I'm like, but it's not though. Like,
In the States, I would even like go out on real dates. It was all like actually meeting, like getting to know people. It was only when I came to Korea that I saw all people were like, look at we do.
yeah. And it's because like a lot of people wonder why foreigners spend their time on there. But like when you're in a country where you don't necessarily speak the language fluently, you can't just go to a stranger and
You're like, hey, be my friend.
and like I hope you speak English. Hi, it's like it's just as a foreigner, it's very convenient when you can see if they like say, oh, I studied abroad, I lived abroad, or part of it's in English and it sounds casual. It's just easier that way. So
And it's also there's a lot of like phobia here. Like it's the whole thing, and then there's also a lot of colorism too. Like not because it doesn't make you safe, it does. But like I was listening to one of my stories. I was literally just scrolling on Tinder and was like, oh, that's kind of cute. So he texted me, the first thing he texted me, hey fat girl. And I was like,
Wait, you told me about that.
I know about that.
Okay, I'm gonna say,
And I was like, what? He was like, you're fat. Is there a point to this? Like, okay. And then I was like, okay, did you just text me to like say that? Like, cause I mean, I am sick. Like, I don't care. You just say it. Okay, it's not gonna change. He was like, no, I'm trying to motivate you. What? And I was like, motivate me to do what? Slap your ass? And he's like, no, you're a fat girl.
Need
like,
water.
You should work out. And I was like, you don't even know me. You don't know if I work out or not. Like,
at least 3-4 times a week?
yeah. And so I was like, okay, bye. Like, unmatched. Like, what is, like, stuff like that has happened to me.
So, as a Korean girl, does these stories sound familiar at all? Or like, again, this is just our experience. So like, have you met Korean guys who talk to you and approach you in that way, looking for just one night or just friends with benefits, or you know? Because I know like it's kind of like the stigma where they take Korean girls obviously more seriously because their families will welcome another Korean before they welcome another foreigner. So like, I'm just curious because a lot of people ask like, is this how they are with everyone, or is it just foreigners?
I think it's both. I think it's the attitude. Like when you use the app, mostly guys, they're like, that's the basic mindset they have. Like, I'm just doing it for fun, you know? So it's that's it. And also if you're foreigner, I think it just makes it worse. Because like they know that, you know, you're not gonna stay here. You're just staying here like temporary. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's part of it.
I've used apps too, and I've seen a lot of guys that a lot of curves and rude.
Self-proclaimed. Like I've never heard someone proudly.
Yeah, they say I'm a pervert.
I'm like, you know,
They say that on the app.
like, hi, I'm a pervert.
Like, someone will be like, I'm a pervert. Can I see your dick? I'm a pervert. You show me your feet? I'm a pervert. Can I show you my dick?
That happened to me last.
Pornhub is there for you.
Oh, we have one.
There you go. So, don't message girls that girl said uncalled for. Because the answer is no.
I really want to know if that gives responses from girls and they're like, oh, pervert. Like, I've never encountered girls who say, yeah, I recognize this pervert. I don't understand. I mean, so it's refreshing and interesting to see that as a Korean girl, these experiences.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, let us know. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just foreigners. I'm not a Korean person.
The thing that it's like a joke in Korea is the Korean pride, where it's like, there's like the bad stuff coming, the delay telling you until the last minute. So like, for example, like say my boss has like a last minute something that I have to do. He'll wait until 3 days before or 2 days before, like, oh actually I can keep doing all this extra work because of whatever we're doing. They're like, why didn't you leave a week ago? Because they don't want you to have like this negative mindset because you know you have this stuff coming. Or like that goes with like dating too, where like a guy will not tell you that they're like not into you or whatever, and they'll just ghost.
He's a bad duck.
It's like a saving face. Like they don't want to be the bad guy. Disappear. It does to me. I think it's weird. It's like to me and for them. Like I'd rather just be like, hey, you know, not really feeling it. Like, you know, you're the person out and I hope you find someone. Great, thank you. Goodbye. You can go. But rather than that, they just ghost you and it's like, what is the purpose? Yeah.
Maybe.
I remember. Like I have this one guy that I've told the story on my channel before, but there was this guy who we started talking and we were talking for like a month online and then we started like meeting out in person. It was really great. And then maybe like 2 weeks in we were like, okay, let's be like exclusive. Like maybe not officially a couple yet, but like going in that direction. And so I was about to do Thanksgiving dinner with like do some dinner with all my friends. And so he was gonna come with us to meet them.
Yeah, we were excited to meet him.
It was like a whole thing. It was so good. And so that night before he bought, because our friends live in Washington. We were going to Malaysia sometimes, so they were living in Washington. And so he bought like mine and his like bus tickets to go up there. And so it's the morning of, and I'm like, okay, like I'm about to go to the station, like I'll meet you there. And he's like, oh, like I can't because I have to like like it was a bit last minute. I'm so sorry. Like, I'll see you when you get back. Like, it's the first week I can't go. And I was like, oh, like, it's fine. I understand. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, go help your family. So I go. He doesn't text me the whole weekend. Like, not at all. He said, I'm thinking, oh, it was something really serious. Like, something really, like, somebody died or something. And now, like, and so that was on, like, Saturday morning or something. So it's now, like, Sunday night. And I'm like, hey, like, I know you're dealing with stuff. Like, just let me know you're okay. So then now it's, like, Tuesday. I still heard nothing from him. I was like, we just agreed to be exclusive. I'm, like, worried about you. I don't know if you're ghosting. I don't know what's happening. And I never heard from him again. That was it. Crazy. That was 2 years ago?
2018. It's in 2018.
Yeah, 2018, like end of the year. So then this year, or last year, 2020, I randomly got a DM in my Instagram, like, hey, Bria, how are you doing? I was like, what the hell? Oh, Jesus. Wanted to fight. I was like, are you seriously messaging me?
They always come back.
On Instagram? And he was like, yeah, like, I'm so sorry about how things turned out. And so I asked him, so, like, why did you ghost? Like, what happened? I was really worried about you ghosting out. They just disappeared. And I was like, so what was the point of you sliding into my DMs again? You knew I was going to ask you about that. That was probably the worst ghost because it was like we were almost in a relationship. So.
But wasn't there like a, I don't know if it's a right term, like red sign?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, literally, he used to come to my house every day after work. Because he works late and I work late, so it kind of worked out for us. For like we could hang out in the morning and then go to work, and then he'd come over like to hang out like at night. And like we didn't sleep together because I wanted to see, like I wanted to see if he was really interested in me or he was interested in him. He never like pushed me to do anything, like nothing. He was never like, he never did that. So I was like, oh, this seems like a good dude. Like,
So yeah, I was thinking, I think I've been ghosted too, but like it was mutual.
Details, story time.
I don't know, we just didn't have chemistry, like we didn't have the vibe.
was it like him? Oh. I had set her up with one of my coworkers who I thought they would be a good match. But I think you guys were fine. Like he was nice.
Yeah,
but
he was
he just like you guys weren't each other's types, I think.
Like it's not ghosting, but like we just like slowly like drifted apart.
One thing I also heard, because I know in Korea you count like the days you've been together, like 100 days, like the main thing.
Sometimes does that.
I heard that. Is it because that like relationships don't last that long? Like 100 days is like rare. That's just what I've heard.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, it's like a high school thing, or like maybe I don't know, like 2021.
Really?
Yeah, but like none of my friends really do that anymore. It's like
I heard there were like apps. So
yeah, there's not like cool.
between.
Okay, take that one. I don't think I'm.
I feel like when I see Korean couples, like more often than not always, the girl is very like, yeah, kind of fierce. I don't want to say that because I don't want to be like, but
Korean girls are all like that.
I'm not saying they all are. Like I have Korean
Personally, I get
girlfriends.
along better with Korean girls than Korean guys.
Well, I believe Korean girlfriends too, who are in relationships and they're not like that. It's just what I put them on like public transportation. I'm like, can you calm down? Or like the other day, like I feel like they expect the men to like really take care of them.
There's a lot of like pouting.
Yes, there's a lot of power.
Why?
And I can say me smacking the shit out of them, and I'm like,
Okay, I didn't see that.
you haven't seen that?
No.
Yeah, like they'll be like not arguing really, but like, oh I want this, like oh my god, yeah. Like, like I saw this one couple there on the street, and he's sitting in front of her, and he's sitting behind her, and they're like holding on to stop it, I said to the reflection, I was like, what the fuck is this? I know. I've not seen my friends act like that, even if they have a Korean significant other, whether it's girl or guy.
I feel like skinship has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like before you were not really supposed to touch
public, and now you can tell people who are clearly couples because they're really close.
Yeah, they are
Like, are any of these stories like a shock to you, like as a foreigner, like hearing how foreigners, some of the stories or the situations we're in as
Pretty much everything you said shocked me. I mean, it's so racist, so sexist. It's just, I don't know, it's everything bad.
like we said, it's not all people. Like I've met and like gone out with several people who were great, and we just didn't click, but it wasn't like it was something negative. So I don't want to give people the impression that like you can't meet someone, but also like don't expect it. Like it's not something like I'm gonna come here and jump into a relationship. Like you know, if you meet someone great, you don't.
Yeah.
You just might not.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. And don't have any of these like baby drama expectations. Well, they're not real.
I don't
I'll
understand that.
see you in the store and buy your meal for you. Like,
I don't even watch things.
Like, I do just want to emphasize, because a lot of people ask about racism in Korea, and it's not any more racist than any other country. Like, it's really not. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, they're doing that because you're black or because you're white. I'm like, but that's an American too, you know? I do find it is a lot easier to get along with and talk with Korean people who, like, studied abroad, lived abroad, worked abroad. It's just a natural clicking thing that just, you don't have to explain anything.
yeah.
There aren't certain expectations. They don't have the same like assumptions and stereotypes, and it's really nice. Like I hate to say it because even when I do try to meet people here, I try to meet people who I guess aren't Korean.
Yeah.
Like I like it. They're like, oh, I studied in Canada for 2 years. I'm like, okay, we probably be
You
friends.
probably understand.
We'll probably understand.
Get ghosted. It's not only you.
Is that me?
It happens to everyone.
Yeah, the message on you. And that's why I'm in the house. Like, just giving up
We gotta fix that.
Alright guys, so thank y'all so much for helping me with this video. Check out their Instas, I will link them in the description box below if y'all want to ask questions, talk about, you know, certain things in the video a little bit more. She's very cool, very friendly, free, no shut ups, she will help you. You too? Well, she's single too, y'all. She's single.
I'm married.
Does he know that? Let him try to get away. So, thanks for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.
Ashlyn, hello, hello. Thank you. How are you? How was your day?
CC Lesson 3, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from that little clip that I just showed you, I did a bit of planning, Hongdae and Itaewon for Halloween weekend. And on Saturday,
I'm good too.
winner decided to break his presence with a
I'm trying
random
to
performance. No one announced it was coming.
mold my
It just happened.
my table back.
And then the music sounded we're like, oh, turn around and then he is, the spotlight just came on and he started performing. So my voice is a bit not great right now. Loving this weekend, so I apologize. Due to popular demand, I thought I'd send you guys another Storytime video about the second guy I dated in Korea. I don't even know if you want to call it dating, but we talked online.
Trying to mold my
for like 3 months.
table back.
We hung out for like 2. We met on Tinder. We started talking last November, and we met up around Christmas time. It was maybe a week before Christmas, something like that. But it's funny because it happened. A few of his profile pictures were of Kendrick Lamar, so clearly he was a huge fan, and that kind of made me swipe right.
Okay.
And I honestly didn't expect him to speak much English because on his like online profile there wasn't really a lot of English there. So I just swiped it. He actually messaged me first, and on my profile before, I don't have Tinder anymore, but it used to say that, I was like a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, so we started talking about music and everything. But yeah, like, if anything, I was kind of looking for more friends, because I think so far one of my biggest regrets about being a Korean adult is that I haven't made more Korean friends. 99% of my friends are foreigners. Some are Korean foreigners.
How was your day?
So I've been trying really hard to meet.
Did you have school today, or your school's on break?
Doesn't ever really last long. Like it's like a short-lived friendship. Like we'll always make plans, but they never actually come to fruition. Or it's like, oh, we're gonna do this weekend. Oh, we'll do this tomorrow, and then it just never happens for whatever reason. They stop replying. And again, the Koreans are really busy. Like the work environment is very toxic. School is a nightmare. So I understand, but just saying. So last year, as you guys know my channel, I used to live in Jeju. So coming to Seoul was more of a process. It was more of an event for me. Our schedule just conflicted all the time. So one day, again, this was in like early December, he said, hey, let me know when you're coming back up to Seoul. So he said he'd take off of work so we could actually hang out. So I told him, yeah, I'll be up here this weekend. He said, all right, cool. As of now, like, I'll take off of work. So I'm not gonna lie though, because from that time on until the date we were supposed to meet up, we hadn't really talked much. Like, I was getting left on red, which I'm used to. So I was just like, all right, I guess we're not actually gonna meet up. So what had happened was, I ended up making plans with another person to hang out on a Saturday in Seoul around Christmas. We were gonna go to Namsan Tower because to this day I still haven't been to the peak of the top, like the little needle at the top. I haven't been able to go up there yet. So we were gonna go this night, and then just the morning of, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, you still down to hang out today?" And I'm like I didn't know he still wanted to. And he told me he took off of work, so I'm like, boy, I don't want to cancel because he took off of work, but I don't want to cancel the other. I don't like to cancel stuff, especially when it's day up. So I managed that he did still my day. So with the first guy, his initials, we'll just call him HS. I told HS that we could meet for lunch then because I wasn't going to go to Namsan Tower until the nighttime. And I really wanted to go to a place called Yongmaland, which is like an abandoned theme park that's really cool for like photos and stuff. So we went to eat and
Ashlyn, I finished the other bag.
It was actually really good. I was kind of surprised though because conversation was just flowing. And one thing that I really liked, you could tell he was really like a very liberal thinking person. Like he was pro-weed, he was pro-same-sex, pro-choice, he was a pretty liberal dude, which I was kind of surprised to find here. We talked a lot about music. And to this day, I haven't really known many Koreans to be fans of the weekend. And he knew like all of the songs. Like at that time, my favorite song was Party Monster. So we're singing songs together and everything. And we ended up talking over lunch for like 2 hours. And it was too late to go to Yongmaland. So he wanted to visit, it was a palace or something. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. I don't remember where we were. It was cool. It was really pretty, and there was snow and everything. But I don't remember where it was. But he said he never really had time off during the day to go visit these type of tourist places. So he wanted to go. We're walking, we're talking, taking pictures. He was really good company. Like I was pleasantly surprised. He seemed very reserved online, so I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I just remember he always felt the need to apologize on behalf of Korean men or on behalf of Korea. He's like, oh, I'm sorry that you and your friends have experienced these things or whatever. Because he was really curious about like what happened with my friends dating, like socially, like how we were integrating socially as foreigners. Like he was really interested in that. So we talked a lot about meeting friends, clubbing, teaching, cultural differences, how we're treated at work, how we're treated by the students, things like that. And he always felt the need to apologize on behalf of Korea, which wasn't necessary. There's good and there's bad everywhere. So we're like, it's fine. Like we wouldn't be here teaching if we didn't want to be here. So it's fine. And like I said, I figured this was like my chance to finally make a Korean friend. He wasn't really my type. Like, I didn't really find him to be like overly cute or really cute or anything. But you know how if the conversation starts to flow, if you guys get along well, if he's really nice and sweet and respectful, then they become more attractive. So that's what started to happen with HS. He started to become more like attractive to me. And then I remember we were walking around the palace, and we started to kind of play this game where like I would sing like a Western song or an American song and see if he could finish the lyrics. And bro, he finished the lyrics. Like if it was Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Drake, The Weeknd, even Taylor Swift, like I was just like, you sir, I'm impressed. And then like he asked how I felt about being away from my family for Christmas, and you know it was my first Christmas away from home. So yeah, it definitely wasn't easy. In the States, Christmas is a family-oriented holiday. In Korea, it's more so for couples. Like yeah, you get off of school and everything, but like it's like a couple holiday where they take photos together, they buy each other gifts. Many holidays are for couples in Korea, Christmas included. So we're coming to the end of our first date. Because I have to meet the other guy. And honestly, it was to the point where I was just like, I don't want to leave. Like, I don't want to go with the other guy. And
Kaylin?
I didn't want to be rude. So,
You get the scooty?
we'll see where this goes. If anything, like I said,
Okay.
I remember running back to my guest house. And, like,
You found it?
No, I had to get my head.
You didn't found your scooty?
And my friends, like, they were laughing at me and judging me. Like, you got this big in one day. Like, look at you. That's a really rare event. That has never happened again. Never happened before. It was just, I'm so used to people canceling plans. And like I said, we hadn't talked that whole week. So I didn't think we were meeting up, but I didn't want to cancel, so I did 2 in one day. So I meet him at home day, exit 8, and we see how crowded it is. So we say, oh, we should probably just get a taxi to outside. So we get in line for the lift. And like I said, I'm a shy person. I can do this because I'm by myself. Like, no one's around to judge me or listen to me or whatever. So like I can talk to my camera to you guys, but when I meet a new person for the first time, I'm just super reserved because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to say something stupid. I like to sit back and gauge first, and then I'll jump in. So it takes me a while to like interact and everything. So he's shy and I'm shy, so it was just a really quiet taxi ride. So he's just like, hey, have you heard of this rapper? And it was Lucas Joyner, and at the time I didn't. I know him now, and I'm a huge fan now because he has that song with Eminem, Lucky You. Y'all gotta move. Y'all gotta move. Give me the truth. So I do like him now, but at the time I was kind of surprised that he was like into such like hip hop, like real hip hop. And it's funny because, like I said, with HS, we got Donkatsu for lunch. I ended up having to get Donkatsu again for dinner because on the way to Namsan, there's like a lot of Donkatsu restaurants. So we got Donkatsu for dinner, and you know we're starting to get a little more comfortable around each other. But the things he started to say, clearly we had very different political and social views. He was saying things like, you know, women should be in the kitchen. He was totally completely against same-sex marriage, which I just feel like love is love, and I just can't stand when people try to force their views on other people based on what they believe. So I knew I just wanted to get through this and then go back with my friends because I knew we wouldn't see each other again after that. It was just awkward. And then on top of that, because the fog was so bad, again, I didn't get to go to the top of Outside Tower. So I'll save that for another day. And like, not trying to be rude, but I don't remember the second guy's name. We hung out that one time. We hadn't talked after that night at all, like ever. So the whole time that I'm with him, I'm actually texting HS. Like, oh yeah, where? He's texting me, you know, he's like, hey, so what are you doing? How are you? Did you have dinner? Did you eat well? That sort of thing. As soon as the date's over, I rush into a taxi to meet my friends for a brief night of clubbing because I was tired. It was a long day. So I ended up leaving early for our standards, 2:30 when I left. The next time we met up was on Christmas Eve. Me and my friends were bowling, but he hates bowling, so he didn't want to go bowling with us. But he agreed to meet us for dinner. So he joined me and my friends for dinner, but he'd already eaten. So he just kind of came and sat, and then we all went to karaoke later, and I was kind of surprised to see him turn up so epically because my friend's boyfriend was with us, and he's only the only guy and the only Korean guy with us. So having HF there, they kind of connected. He's like, oh yeah, how you feel? Like they were happy to interact. My guy was born in '94. My friend's boyfriend was born in '96, so it was kind of funny hearing him call him young, and I'm just like, oh, Korea. They were, you know, they turned up during karaoke. It was a really lit, fun environment. And my friend's boyfriend got like a Christmas cake, so we went to a bar to eat it. We kind of spent that night just like bar hopping and clubbing. And it was funny because we had to convince him to go clubbing with us because he's like, oh, I'm not a clubber. I don't like that scene. I like the music. Like, what kind of music is it? And we're like, it's hip hop. He's like, all right, I'll try it. So you know, we'd go bar hopping, and it was funny because my friends loved him. Like, they were like, yo, he's such a cool dude. He's really nice. He's so cool. He was easy to talk to. He was really chill. Like, he was a lot of fun. Like, to this day, my friends are like, oh, we miss him. Or whenever I bring him up, they're like, oh, I remember that dude. Like, we miss him. We were playing, like, me and my friends, we were playing darts with him and one of our friends, Tyson, and he was bragging about his, like, army skills as a sharpshooter and everything. And I was kind of upset because my friend, Tyson, he said, yo, I'm going to get you on. Like, please don't do that because I know alcohol affects people for better or for worse. I was like, please don't do this. Like, I don't want to see him drunk. I'm scared of what I'll see. But he did it anyway. And of course, he started to get more weird. Like, when I go clubbing, I don't dance with random guys because they get handsy. They like try to kiss you. They like do weird things to your ears, from what I've heard. So I don't dance with random guys. So it's kind of exciting to go with a guy I knew, so I could dance with him, and also having a guy around creeps away. You know, we're dancing, he started to get weirder and weirder, and just get drunker and drunker. Because, you know, in Korean society, it's like rude to refuse like a drink or a meal or something. So every time my friend said, take this shot, he's like, he would take it. So it got to the point I was like, and I took it from him and I took it and gave it back to make it look like he drank it fast already. No, he's already drunk and everything. Then he started yelling in my ear because I guess the music was loud, but he really didn't have to yell because he was so close. But he's like, you have the most perfect body. And I was like,
Shit.
so, oh my God, you're drunk. So I went to get him a full bottle of water and I was like, please drink this. Chug this whole thing and then we can talk. So then he started to get back to normal. Thank God. But like I said, he's not a clubber. And for me, I don't like to be out when the sun is out or when it's light outside. I feel like that's when I belong back in bed. So I'm like, I don't really want
Alright, let's go to the machine.
let's go, like, you know. I was like, you don't want to wait for the trains to ride. He's like, no, I'm not far. I'll take a taxi. So he walks me back to our guest house. And it was Christmas morning, so we kissed. You know, he texted me, sleep well, all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, let me get home. He acted mad boyfriendish. For someone who didn't, like, make anything official, he was very, like, boyfriendish. Like, he was very territorial, which I was like, relax. He was also, you know, texting me every morning, texting me every night, asking me if I ate lunch, asking me if I had dinner, all that, you know, sort of sweet stuff. So the next time we hung out was New Year's Eve, and, you know, we had a few days off as a break from school. So me and my friend stayed up in Seoul for like a week. I think we were there for about a week. He really didn't want to go. But we went clubbing again on New Year's Eve. Yeah, it was a good night. Nothing like exceptional or memorable really happened. It was fun. So then the next day though, me and him made plans to go to Inchan because we were gonna go to Chinatown in Inchan and Wangnido, which is like a carnival, small type of carnival. Like they had like a lot of Viking rides. They had like, you know, a few games and everything. Even though I don't know why we thought this would be fun because it's like January 2nd, so it's freezing. When we got back to Seoul, we went to like it's like a drinking room. Like you go to the room, it's like a room, like it's like a table, there's like a door that closes you off, it's like a small room. You order anju, which is like food you eat while drinking, so you don't get too drunk, and we order drinks. And it's like a bench on this side and a bench on that side, and you know, there's music and stuff. So we're finally warm again, and we're talking, he's drinking, and we had this really good seafood with cheese all over it. Oh my God. Of course, after he started to get more drunk, he got up and sat next to me, and I was just like, what are you doing? He started leaning on my shoulder, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then suddenly, he just grabbed me. Like, he grabbed me, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, what did I do? And I'm just looking at him. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do anything. I'm like, I just stared at him for like 8 minutes. I'm just like, I asked him to go back to his side of the bench. He got up and went over there. This was really the beginning of the end. During our time, New Year's, my friend's boyfriend was sick. Then he got her sick. Then she got us sick. So we were all sick. And we were just in the guest house dying. And he was like, hey, what are you up to? And I'm like, we're dying. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, we're all just sick. And he asked me to come over. I was like, we're not doing anything. We're all just sick. Like, we're literally just sitting here on our phones like, drugged up on medicine. So then he's like, oh, well, I wanted to bring you some medicine. And I'm like, thanks, that's really sweet. But, like, we're fine. We don't want to get anybody else sick. We're good. Honestly, like, the sickness didn't hit me fully until there was, like, a Ghibli.
Alright, we're getting there.
Art exhibit sort of thing. So we went there, and as soon as we got back,
I don't know if I want to use the older one or I'm just gonna stick with the square.
Everything to try and speed up the process of recovery. So then he's like, hey, I want to come over. And I'm like, no, you don't. This is what you want. Before it's even up, I told him, like, yes, that's even no. She told me he was already at the exit. And I'm like, what? So he was already, like, near our guest house. And I was like, we're sick, dude. Like, you don't want to come in. He's like, oh, I don't want to come in. I just want to see you and give you medicine. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. Like, you're already here. I can't be like, we're not letting you know. So I go outside to greet him, and he's freezing and shivering, and he's like, can I come in? And I knew that's what he wanted to do. So I'm like, let me ask my friend. And I was like, can he come inside? And I'm like, sure, fine, but if he gets sick, he gets sick. Like, we warned him. So he comes in, he brings his medicine, which was nice. Like I said, that was really sweet. So we're all doing nothing, like, just quiet. Sneezing, tissues in our nose. And then, it didn't take long for him to say, yeah, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, exactly. Like, I told you this is not what he wanted. After he left, he texted me and said he wanted to watch a movie or something. And he said he wanted to sleep with me. So then I'm like, let me not assume the words just yet. So I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, you know the way your first boyfriend always spends the night. He always sleeps over. And I'm like, oh, you sound like a sleepover. And he's like, what did you think I meant? I'm like, nothing. So he wanted to know what I thought you meant. So then he said, oh, like he put together what I thought he meant. He said, well, even if that is what I wanted, would that really be so bad? I'm like, here we go. Fast forward to like a day before, like we hadn't really been talking much. It was way too long for me. It was like the day before my back was ending, and he wanted to meet at a coffee shop. That's what they do here. So we were sitting there, and he just wanted to reiterate the fact that he wasn't looking for anything serious. He just wanted to buy some casual. So I'm like, you know, that's fine, but that's not me. And I told you this back during my rant days. However, need to understand exactly and fully what I meant. So fast forward like another week.
Alright, y'all. So I'm gonna head off, get something to eat, relax a little bit because I am tired. Not lying, not gonna lie. I'm freaking tired and hungry. So I'll be back. Give me about 4 hours, 3 hours. That'll be like 7 p.m. So give me about then and I'll come back. Okay? And thank you so much for the 12 people that liked the stream. Thank you. Thank you for the watch time. Those who gave me your time and sit here with me while I finish these bags. I'm gonna try my best to finish this one tonight. If not, it will be finished tomorrow. It has to be done tomorrow. My daughter leaves on Sunday and I want to watch a Christmas movie and help her pack on Saturday. So I gotta finish this tomorrow. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow is only a day away. Yeah, okay. So I'll be back around 7 to continue working, but I'm so hungry. Excuse me, I got the hiccup. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. So thank you so much. Mwah. Until 7 p.m. See ya. Let me take this light down. This light dies so quickly, but that's because I don't let it charge all the way to here. I need to let it charge. Anyway, I'm gonna put it on charge and I'm gonna put this phone on charge too. And I'll see y'all when I come back later. Bye.